How's it going, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Artisans of Steel podcast. I have a very special and very talented guest today, my friend Justin Stinson. He's Running Man Forge on Instagram. Um, I'm super. There's chainsaws going on outside right now. It's kind of driving me nuts. I know the microphone's not picking it up, but it's bugging me. Anyways, I'm really excited to talk to Justin. He is a very talented maker. He and a prolific maker. He really does some serious work and puts out a lot of work, a lot of really nice, highly refined work. And so I'm really excited to talk to him about his process, his approach, his story, how he got here. But before we do that, we're going to talk about our sponsors real quick. This month's sponsors are struggling real quick here for a second. The first one right off the top is my friend, Mr. Josh Weston. Josh Weston is a very talented maker with a background in graphic art and design. He is Josh A. Weston on Instagram. You can also find him on Instagram at Dragon Forge EXP. That's the Dragon Forge experience, where they have what is it? They have a few established Renaissance festivals that they have stables set up. So each of the stables has its own unique dragon and a smith that works with that dragon like it's a dragon trainer. But what they do is they create the opportunity for people to come and try their hand at forging and have a forging experience, but in this very, very unique setup where you're forging out of the flames of these dragons' mouths. And it's not just their heads, it is a full-on fabricated body with wings and claws and arms and long necks. Some are hanging from the rafters, some are down on the ground, some are climbing up pillars. They're super cool. So go to Josh's pages, either Josh A. Weston on Instagram, that's all one word, no periods, no underscores, or at Dragon Forge EXP to check out the Dragon Forge experience, where they are actively operating. And they also have the new Black Flags. I think they're setting up in Myrtle Beach, where they're going to be doing kind of pirate style cutlass blade forging, as well as their other forging projects that they offer. Next up, we have Russell Tinsley. He is the owner and operator of Ouzel Finch Beers. Ouzel Finch Beers make some of the wildest, out of the box, like wildly crazy kind of flavored beers. They had one a while back that was key lime pie, and key lime pie is probably one of my most favorite pies ever, and I wanted to try that beer super bad. Right now through September, on Fridays, they have live music at their tasting room. So if you're in the Virginia area, go check them out. Look up Ouzel Finch Beers. That's OOZLE Finch, like the bird, beers. And you can get more information on upcoming events and stuff they got going on at the tasting room. He is also on Instagram at Can't Make Knives, all one word. Because he's a new maker. I think it's actually a pretty clever name. Can't Make Knives. Though he has been taking classes and he's been practicing, and he's definitely making his way and doing some solid work. So go give him a follow. Ouzel Finch Beers and at Can't Make Knives. Next up, we have Dan Hubbs. He's on Instagram at 66 Mountain Knives. Dan is a great guy. I just saw him actually at Blade Show. I guess who knows when you're listening. So this was in June 2025 down in Atlanta. He's a great guy. He's a giant of a man, hence 6'6", but he's the most soft-spoken, very talented, gets amazing finishes on his Damascus. He does really great EDCs, and he's stepping into the chef's knife world. So go give him a follow on Instagram at 66. Those are the numbers, 66 Mountain Knives. Next, we have Lawrence Lake. He is on Instagram at Maritime Knife Supply. He's based out of Atlantic, Canada. And he is your supplier for whatever you need, whether you're in Canada or the United States. And I think he's also got he's got things set up so he can ship to Europe as well. But for all you makers out there, he's got the tools, he's got the consumables, he's got the handle materials, pins, whatever you need as a knife maker. Lawrence has got you covered. You can also go to his website, maritimeknifesupply.com. anchoragefforge.com to go check out all the things that they offer. And finally, last but not least, we have Gabe Fletcher. He is at Anchorage Forge on Instagram, as well as at Anchorage Brewing. He just won Best Damascus at Blade Show in Atlanta, June 2025. And he certainly deserved it. He's been doing some phenomenal work for a newer maker, and I'm very proud to be part of his journey and proud of the work that he's been doing. He's really killing it. And so if you want to see more of his work, go to his maker page, Anchorage Forge. And if you've never heard of Anchorage Brewing, I don't know what rock you've been hiding under, because Anchorage Brewing is very well known, not just across the United States, but around the world. They've won lots of awards for their beers. Some of the best beers I've ever tasted in my life. One of their most well-known is A Deal with the Devil. I almost said As the Devil Dances. That's a different thing. That's a Friends band. But anyways, go check out Gabe at Anchorage Forge, as well as at Anchorage Brewing. All right. So my guest today, Justin Stinson, I've been following his work for a while, probably since 2019 or 2020. I can't remember when I first started seeing his work. I first met him, I believe it was in 2021 at the Sacramento Forge to Table event, which was a food and chef's knife event. And it was the first time I got to see his work in person and talk to him in person. He actually absolutely crushed it at that show. And I've just stayed connected and continued to follow him ever since. I had the great fortune to go work with him and a few other makers down in California last year and get to know him a bit better. And I'm going to pull him in here right now. It's been really great to get to know you, my friend. And I'm looking forward to learning more about you.
Oh yeah, I'm so happy to be here.
Heck yeah, man. I really appreciate you joining us for this conversation. And I'm really excited to learn more about you and how you got into all this work. Where are you joining us from?
So I'm in California. I'm above San Francisco, but below Sacramento. It's right
Okay.
next to the Travis Air Force Base.
Okay. Excellent.
Yeah.
How's the weather up there right now? Are you
It
melting
was
right now?
it was 95 today.
Oh
There
my
was
God.
just a fire, and the smoke is now clearing away. So
Good.
that's good. I'm not going to be
Yeah.
choking over here.
Okay. How did the fires affect you guys there? Like, I know California's had a lot of gnarly fires over the years recently, and I mean maybe always, but how close do they get to you?
Oh man, they get close
Yeah.
sometimes. I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, there was the huge fire that burned Lake Berryessa over here, and the year after that, there was another big one, and this whole area was just, it looked like a volcano erupted for
Oh geez.
weeks, weeks,
For weeks.
weeks. Yeah,
Holy
it was
crap.
bad. I You couldn't go outside for long periods of time. Yeah, it happens every year. Luckily, the past couple of years, it hasn't been close to here as often and as big. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Do you think
towns
being
get
close to
destroyed.
Yeah. Oh geez. Do you think it benefits you being close to the Air Force Base? Because I'm guessing the Air Force Base doesn't want to catch on fire.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I've seen fire trucks come out and put out fires
Oh,
that are
nice.
close by,
That's good.
and yeah, that helps out, I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, I want to start with kind of learning a bit about your background, especially as you were growing up as a kid, kind of through high school. What were you like? Were you always a creative person? Like what kind of creative outlets did you kind of explore as a kid? And, what was family life like? And did parents or family members kind of help support and kind of encourage your creativity?
So I come from a family of mechanics,
Okay.
mostly like factory mechanics and car mechanics. So like the hands-on thing is probably genetically passed down. Um,
Sure.
but other than that, like I'm an only child, so I had
Okay.
nobody to entertain me, and I spent a lot of time in my room just like tinkering with things. A lot of airsoft gun tinkering, and
Oh,
I
yeah.
would wire things up like cars, little model cars. I would wire them up with like LED lights and batteries.
Whoa.
Just like technical, I don't know, whatever my mind could create to entertain myself. I don't know if I have like ADD or something like that, but Yeah, I just like to tinker. And then when I was like 12, I made my first knife, and it was from
Really?
a it wasn't really a knife, but it was kind of a knife. It was from mild steel from Home Depot.
Okay, perfect. It's also known as a shiv.
Yeah, yeah, it
Yeah.
was a ship. It was probably like 8 or 10 inches long, and my stepdad helped me put a guard on it. It was brazed
Okay.
on. It was
Okay.
just flat steel with a brazed on guard, and then a copper pipe underneath it brazed on.
Oh, I see. So the bottom of the bar was brazed right onto the garden. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, yeah,
Perfect. That sounds like a very strong joint.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, especially, yeah. He put a huge puddle of brass on there, and
I got you.
yeah, that was my first knife. And then
What sorry, real quick, can I ask you
yeah,
what made you want to make a knife? Like, is there something were you reading a book or watching a show? Like, what was it that made you say, "Hey, I'm gonna make a knife"?
I always point to first when I was in elementary school, I would draw doodle stuff, and it would always be swords. For
Okay,
whatever reason, I don't know. It's probably influenced by video games, shows.
sure.
I just had like this fascination with stuff, but it really kicked off when I went to a Renaissance fair,
Okay.
and I got my first like made dagger.
Oh,
Um, and I just like worshipped this thing. And I can't
sure.
believe I had it at the age that I had it. I was probably 9.
Yeah,
And yeah, I was just fascinated after that, and couldn't stop thinking about it.
right. Um, oh god, what was it you just said? With the oh, was it
Renaissance fair.
yeah, no, were there particular games or shows? Were you, like, watching Conan or playing World of Warcraft? Like
There was this MMO RPG that I played called Silk Road. Nobody's gonna know about it,
okay.
but it has like lots of cool Chinese weapons like glaives and
Oh, cool.
swords and all stuff like that that you can
Right.
like. I can get nerdy on it, but who cares? Um,
What does
yeah,
MMO mean?
massive multiplayer online. So it's just like World of Warcraft, kind of
Okay.
the same vein.
I got you, I got you. Is that like a
Yeah,
PC game? I don't know. I was never good at playing
yeah,
those role-playing games.
yeah. It's a PC game.
I love watching people play those, but I'm so terrible at them. Nobody want you never want me to play or be on your team. Unless you need an easy win, then you can play me, but otherwise, I'm absolutely useless
There's a learning curve to
for
everything.
sure. And what about shows? You said some shows you'd seen some shows or maybe movies that had also kind of sparked your interest in swords.
Kill Bill. Kill Bill
Kill
is a big one.
Bill. Yeah.
Yeah, that making the sword, and it's going to take a month, and after the reveal, it's like, and then going up to the attic where all the swords are. Oh my god. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. I just got goosebumps remembering that. Yeah, with Hattori Hanzo. The
Yeah,
Hanzo sword. Yeah.
Hanzo sword.
Yeah. I so here's how old I am compared to you. I can't remember how old you said you were, but I worked in the movie theater at the age of 19, I believe, when that movie came out.
Oh wow. Yeah, I was probably in middle school when it came out. I'm
Yeah.
32 now.
Okay, that checks out. So
Yeah,
I'll be 41 in August, so there's about a 8-9 year difference depending on when your
yeah,
birthday is.
yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
May
Yeah,
the
that's
fourth.
May the
Fun
4th. Oh,
fact.
really?
Yeah, may the fourth be with you. That
All
became a
right.
thing afterwards. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good to know. I will never forget your birthday now. I mean, I guess maybe I can't make promises, but that's a good way to that's a good mnemonic or maybe not a mnemonic, but a way to remember.
Yeah, you might remember it now.
I might
Yeah.
remember it now. Cool. So, okay, so you make this first shiv, and then where does it go from there? So you're 12 years old, you make a cool shiv. Um, like,
Yeah.
were you also enamored with that, like you were with the dagger, or
No, it was like, okay, I made this hunk of junk. What's next?
okay? So then, where did you go from there?
Man, it was a couple years until I got back on it,
Okay,
just because of just regular life, and I didn't have like materials and stuff like that. And But after I did pick up back on it, I started making like these throwing knives,
Yeah.
and I was using a tabletop bench grinder to grind them in, and then
Oh, geez.
bow shurikens where you take a rod and you just put a point on it, and then you gotta throw it like that.
Right.
Um,
A slow rotation.
I don't. It's
Did it
like
even
it's like
flip, or is it a straight shot?
no, it's like a straight shot. You
Yeah,
gotta
yeah.
just yeah. I throw that at cardboard a lot. I did grab myself some more mild steel, and I tried to make a samurai sword.
Mm.
And I dug a hole in the backyard, a trough. I
Oh,
put a trash bag down as a liner, filled it with water,
yeah. Okay.
and
Makes
then
sense.
I think we had like my dad helped me with a couple torches. We were trying to heat treat mild steel. We had no idea
Nice.
what we're doing because
Sure.
YouTube wasn't really a big thing, and there was not that
Sure.
much information out there for a kid.
Yeah.
So yeah, we put this thing in the water, and it just like it cracked and bananaed, and it was just a mess. I didn't even touch it after that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
Jeez.
yeah,
Nobody got burned? Was everybody safe?
everything was fine. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
That's good. Crazy. Um, okay. So then, oh gosh, what was I just gonna ask? I can't remember now. Sorry. My brain is like super all over the place right now. I think I drank too much caffeine and now I can't focus on anything.
Oh, it's all good.
At the same time, while you're going to school and you're like playing with like delving into this stuff, are you are you working in like middle school and high school?
No, no, I was just tinkering and playing video games,
I
just
gotcha.
normal kid stuff.
Sure.
I think once I got in high school, I started using a 1x30, and I got some real steel then finally. Um, but after I graduated high school is when I started actually making good, somewhat good knives.
Okay.
I think one of the first big project I took on was a Yanagaba.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and
Just about one of the hardest culinary knives to make.
I know I'm making four of them right now in Magna Cut.
Oh, Jesus. I saw your
So hard.
post recently. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's been a couple days. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I bet.
But yeah, this Yanagaba I worked on, I was probably 18. It was out of O1 steel, and the thing was warped so sideways once I ground it, because just how
Oh,
things like to migrate after you grind one side.
for sure. Yeah.
But I finished it out, and it cut pretty good. And I was just like, okay, now we got to make some fixed blades. So I made some fixed blades,
Like hunting
and
knives or
yeah, hunting knives.
okay.
I made like three out of D2, and I heat treated them out of a forge that I made myself. And
Okay.
then, yeah, I ended up selling those to family.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that was when it started. It was like uh, 10 years ago.
Oh,
That's two.
wow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
longer than that. Maybe longer than that.
Okay.
Yeah. And then it was just on from there. Started building equipment, and then I got into this shop. Uh, when did I get in the shop? I got in the shop a while ago. It's been probably 8 years I've been in the shop. And I
In the
just
shop
built it
you're in
out.
right now?
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
got you. Uh, I was gonna ask you, so real quick, stepping back to high school. So, um, were there other like other studies, I guess, subject studies that you that also interested you, or were you just like video games and I gonna make knives?
Um, no, actually, I'm a science nerd. I
Okay.
got top of my class in chemistry,
Oh,
and
wow.
I the high school I went to, they had a biotech program, biotechnology,
Yeah.
and I did 2 years of that, and I was a TA for biology as well. So and then I went to college at it's a JC, and I got a certificate in biotechnology. It took 4 years to get,
Oh, wow.
um, and I never used it.
What
I
did
was.
you think? What did you think you were gonna? What kind of work did you want to try to focus that on?
So that was going to be aimed towards Genentech, um, Johnson and Johnson. What else? It's been a while since I heard or thought about these companies, but they
Sure.
basically make medications out of biological material.
Oh,
So
interesting.
they like make insulin, or they make Herceptin, which is a breast cancer medication, or
Oh, wow.
left and right. I could talk all day about it, um, but yeah, I didn't end up using it. I
Sure.
just
Is that something that you still kind of like follow and read up on and keep up to date with? And
Well, when COVID hit, I had a leg up because I kind of understood everything a lot more than the average person did.
okay,
But other than that, I don't really keep up any more than
I got you.
anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, I got you. Oh, and so you finish college, and the whole time you're still making knives, or is that
Yeah.
was okay?
Once in a while. And when I was in college, I was probably making them once in a while. It wasn't like
Okay,
a full-time thing.
I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of a degree sounds a bit intensive, or at least
Yeah, I was
from
full-time.
from my limited experience in college. I think I don't even have like enough credits for an AA yet. I think I had like 40 credit. I was like 5 credits away, like 2 classes or something like that. And I was terrible at school.
I'm
But
pretty terrible at school too.
oh,
Yeah.
really?
I cannot study. I hate
Mm.
studying. I learned everything in class. I'm one of these kind of people. I learn everything in class and then I just take the test.
Those are actually the only classes I did really well in that were just like lecture and test, lecture and test. So it was like astronomy class and history of ancient, like whatever, ancient civilizations and stuff like those kind of things interest me. So I was just like, yeah, tell me more. And
Yeah.
but they
Yeah.
didn't require much work. It was just a lecture class, and so I just took good notes and then took a test and crushed it.
Yeah, we're the kind of people that only do good at things that we care about.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Okay, so you finish college, and you don't end up. What do you do right away? Because you've already said that you don't end up uh, using your degree. So what kind of work were you doing before you got into knife making, kind of more seriously?
Yeah, so I got out of college and then I got a job at a factory in Napa,
Okay.
and I worked there for 4 years. I was making gas regulators for microchip production. So
Oh, interesting.
microchips are made with silicon wafers, right? So there's a bunch of gases that flow in while they're making the microchips, and the company I worked for made the gas regulators and
Okay.
valves for these gases that make microchips. And it was all in a clean room, so I had to fully suit up. We had
Right.
to be careful of particles and all that kind of stuff. And I was
Sure.
churning out these, you know, 300 to $1,000 regulators, a couple hundred
Whoa.
of them away a day. And I kind of worked myself up in that. The thing with me and jobs is like I have to do everything. You can't stick me in a corner and just expect me to be there for 20 years. I have to
Sure.
learn everything. So, and I annoy my bosses until they realize that they can use me anywhere, and then they
Right.
love me.
Sure.
So that's what happened at this place. And I was on my way to becoming a supervisor easily. I was getting really good raises and stuff like that.
Sure.
Um, and then, yeah, I ended up going full-time knife making after this job.
Okay.
As soon as my daughter was born, um, it was like, okay, well, who's gonna be there? Who's gonna babysit?
Right.
This
Yeah.
this is the dilemma.
Yeah.
And luckily, my shop is right next to my house.
Yeah.
So 6 months after she was born, I ended up taking the dive and going full time. But
Yeah.
man, the road to go full time, it's not for everybody.
No.
I was working 4 hours every day after work, and I was working 60-hour weeks, 10 hours a
Holy
day.
oh my god. So you were putting on like an extra whatever, five or six? days a week were you in the shop, or every day?
Basically every day. Yeah.
Holy
Sunday,
crap. So you're putting on
Sunday
an
was like,
extra almost 30 hours a week.
yeah, easily. And the whole time I was working at the factory, I was dreaming about what I was going to do when I got in the shop.
Oh,
They,
interesting.
and then as soon as I got here, I nailed it. It was already pre-programmed. I got to get this done. It's done.
Wow. So you're a very analytical guy, along with being a science kind of driven mind,
Yeah, and
you
also
think?
fixated. I got really fixated.
Highly fixated. Well, okay, so that's something that comes up often, either over on the Knife Talk podcast that I'm part of, um, and just like talking to people in general, like the figuring out when to when to go full time. And I always tell people, like, really, it's very subjective. It depends on what you got going on in your life, what your responsibilities are, what kind of bills you got to pay. Um, so there's no, I don't think there's any hard and fast answer, other than you need to figure that shit out. I think before you decide you want to go full time. But I think it sounds like you went a step further, or maybe 2 or 3 steps further, with like having sounds like almost an entire business plan and in place for how you were not only going to step into doing this full time, but be successful. And I feel like watching you, I feel like you have been very successful in your business as a knife maker.
Yeah, man, I was doing this for 4 years, and then I was able to make that jump,
Yeah,
and it was scary. I got my bank account down to like a couple $100 quite a
sure.
few times the first year,
Yeah,
but I was never late on rent, and all my bills have always been paid,
right.
and I would just do whatever it took, whatever it
Mm,
took. If I had to be out here late, I would have to be out here late.
yeah.
And I got it done. And at the same time, I'm taking care of my daughter, and she's, a little baby.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Well, that had to be a really strong motivator for you as well, right?
yeah, especially when my ex-wife at the time, she wasn't really picking up the slack. It was
I gotcha.
90% me. And we can get into that whole thing. I mean, that whole thing is a mess.
Sure.
And she's not in the picture anymore.
Okay.
Um, Yeah, but my daughter's 6 now, and she's doing great, and she's getting awards at school, and I'm so proud of her. She's great. She's a
That's
great
great,
kid.
man. Yeah, she's rad. I got to meet her while I was down there working with you guys. She's a cool kid, and I
Yeah.
believe it. She seems smart as a or sharp as a tack. Smart as, I'm like getting my my things mixed up, but yeah, she's pretty cool, and it's impressive what you've done to help raise like a well-rounded, kind of very very sociable and easygoing chick. I almost said chick, girl, kid, child, kid, whatever they are. Yeah, God, that sounds like a lot. Um, how did you, like, what kind of things did you? Oh, okay. Actually, before you went full time, what were some of the things that you felt like you had to have in place and figured out and organized before you went full time? And did you like have a projection of what kind of income you need to be pulling in, and how much work that equated to?
Um, I feel like I didn't have much of a plan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, it sounds like it, but I didn't. I was just consistently having a good amount of custom orders coming in, and then I was consistently having a good amount of stuff sell off my website,
Yeah.
to where I felt comfortable enough to take the plunge. And I had my Instagram built up to probably over 10,000 followers, and I was
Sure.
very active. And this is back when Instagram didn't moderate you like it
Yeah.
does nowadays. So
Yeah.
my posts would they can easily get 1,000 likes,
Oh,
and
wow.
yeah, easily, or at least 500 minimum.
Yeah.
But nowadays it's like 300 if I'm lucky.
Right.
Usually it's like 150, and I've got almost 40,000 followers. It's just how it is now.
Sure.
And it is what it is. But I felt confident, and maybe the confidence was not really the smartest thought that I had, but it worked because I made it work. I don't know how I made it work. It's hard to think back on how I was thinking back then because it was 6 years ago now
Okay.
that I went full time. That kind of just goes away in your memory, you know. And I just say if anybody's wanting to go full time, just make sure that you could pay your bills with that extra income that you're trying out now
Oh,
for at
interesting.
least 3 months in a row, at
Yeah.
least. If you can't consistently do that, then it's not a good idea.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I like that. So you got a full-time job but you're saying if you're part-time, your side hustle or whatever you want to call it, doing the knives part-time can cover you then and for a reasonable amount of time consistently, then maybe you're in a position. That's an interesting way to think about it.
Yeah, yeah. And if you got some customers that will spend $10,000 on you over a course of a couple of years or a year,
Yeah.
then you know you're on the right track. Because
Right.
if you can get customers to stick around and those $10,000 customers, then you're definitely doing something good, and you should probably consider going full time if you want to. It's a curse though. If you go full time, this is not a hobby anymore. It's not
No.
fun anymore. This is business.
Right.
And you only get to do the fun things every once in a while when you build up a little bit of a nest egg where you can invest time to do so.
Mhm.
At least for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see. Trying to decide what I want. How did you start building up kind of your clientele, or how did you start connecting with buyers? Was it just through social media? Were you selling through stores, doing farmers markets? Like, how did you connect with people, or how did most people find you?
It was all Instagram.
All Instagram.
Yeah, it was all Instagram. The I think the show that I first met you at, Forge a Table,
Yeah.
that was either my first or second show I'd ever done,
Okay.
and did that show.
Okay. Can you hear me? Hold on a second. Your headset's doing something weird. Wait, wait, wait. Oh man, he's talking. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I can't hear you. Is there some background noise that's causing it to cut out? It's funny. I can hear you're touching your phone, but I can't hear your voice at all. Testing, testing. Can you hear me? Try here. I'm gonna can try disconnecting your headset. Oh, you did. Do you have like a plug on the bottom of your phone to keep dust out? Can you hear me? Oh man, I can't. No. Did your headset die on you? Okay, why don't you pop out and come back in? That hopefully that'll fix that. All right, we'll be right back with Justin. All right. All right. Apologies for the I actually got to make note of the time. Let's see. 34. That's probably been going on for about a minute. All right, I'm going to pull him back in here. Hey, there you are.
All right, we're good. We're
Yeah.
good.
Dude, I hate it when that happens. I've had that happen to me before too.
Yeah, my my dad called me and messed it all up.
Well, if it happens again, we know how to fix it now. Um, sorry, so I can't remember now. Oh, we were talking about going full time, and and being able to pay for life, really, in general. But paying for your life from the side job, right?
Yeah.
Oh, and
It's
you were
hard
talking.
to go
Sorry,
ahead.
I was also just remembering you were talking about how the Forge the Table event was your second show, and what else? But most of your sales have come through Instagram.
Yeah, yeah. Most of my customers came through Instagram. I did it a cheater way with Instagram.
Oh,
I'll let this air out here.
oh boy, airing out the dirty
Yeah,
laundry.
this dirty laundry, but it worked. And you know what? You got to do what you got to do, right?
Yeah,
So at first, when I had like maybe 1,000, 2,000 followers, this is way back.
yeah.
This is back when Instagram was not on like algorithm based; it was timeline based.
Okay.
I got this app that would follow people and unfollow them. So
Okay.
people would see that I followed them, and then they would be like, "Who's this?" And then they would either follow me back or not. And then
Oh, I got
so
you.
I'd follow like thousands of people, and then I
Wow.
would have it set to unfollow those same people like a couple days later.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and I did this for a while. Instagram caught on though, and they got me like a couple bad marks, and so I had to stop that.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah, they caught
interesting.
on to that whole thing. And I saw some other knife makers doing it too. If you
Really?
saw
I've
like
never heard of that.
yeah, if you see anybody that has back in the day that had like there's a max of 7,500 followers that you can have or following people.
Oh,
If you
okay.
saw somebody have like the max amount, they're probably doing that.
I got you.
Um, and then after that was a thing, I then paid somebody to do bot likes on my account.
Okay.
And what
Yeah.
this did is it would take your post and put it into the explore page for more people to see you.
Okay.
Because back then the algorithm worked where if you had accounts that were over 10,000 followers liking your posts,
Yeah.
it would boost your posts. It was merit based.
I got you.
So the more high profile. So what would happen is you have these guys that have like tons of like bot accounts that have over 10,000 followers on them, and they would all just spam like your posts, and you'd pay them
Oh,
to do that, and then you get boosted. And so I was getting like 500 followers um, a week
holy
for
shit.
a while, and
Yeah.
I was paying like $150 a month for it.
That's a great plan.
Money well spent.
Yeah, dude.
So, and these
That is some serious business tactics right there.
yeah, and so all these followers are getting were real people. They weren't
Right.
bots like what you get nowadays when you pay for that kind of stuff. And yeah, I was getting tons of custom orders. I would make a batch of like 25 knives, and they would all sell out.
Dude.
I would
Yeah.
do pre-orders, and the pre-orders would go crazy. And yeah, yeah, that was back during the prime of Doghouse Forge days. He was my
Oh yeah.
inspiration.
Oh really?
Yeah, yeah.
Is that how they rolled?
Well, I don't know how he did it, but the
Sure.
way that he ran his business when he had the warehouse,
Yeah.
that was like that was my gold standard. That was my North Star.
Yeah, dude. Those guys were blasting out knives.
Yeah, there was like two or three guys that were working that shop for a while, and it
Working
was
their
really
asses
fun
off.
seeing them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's funny. I still remember their little doghouse like insignia on their blades.
yeah, yeah. Is
Yeah.
he still making knives, Jonathan Porter?
I'm not sure. I don't know. I know he's still doing the farrier thing. But I think he'll do that as long as his body will hold up. But I don't know
It's
about
a
the
good
knife stuff.
gig.
Yeah.
Yeah, farriers, if you're good, they make like $300 an hour.
Damn.
Yeah, yeah, I
That's
know.
It sounds like absolute torture on my back right now. I sharpened I had this week was a sharpening week for me. And I probably sharpened like around $1,200 worth of knives or sharpening services, I guess, over the last couple days. and my back feels absolutely destroyed. Even though like I try to like set it up so as ergonomic as possible, it still destroys my back. Like I'm sharpening from a seated position and my grinder's like at an angle, so I'm sharpening like right here. And so instead of turning my head down, I'm kind of more looking straight forward, kind of, but it doesn't matter. Like my back still is so seeing those guys work, like one, it's super hard work in the first place, wailing out those horseshoes, but then all the other work that they're doing to trim the hooves and do all this other stuff to get the hooves on and everything, getting the old hooves, or sorry, not to get the shoes on. Yeah, those guys are. I have nothing but respect for those guys.
Me too. And there's just like a science behind how the horses walk, and
Yeah,
this one's got a bum foot and they got to do some special horseshoe, and yeah,
right.
it's insane. It's really cool.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember watching Doghouse Forge, and I was just watching those guys blow up, and I was just like, "Damn, what are they doing? What can I do?" I
I
felt
know.
like I was totally missing out on something, even though like I had my own growth that I was doing at the same time. I was just like, "Damn!" Like it seemed like what they had going on, and obviously, like I wasn't part of the business, so I don't know exactly how everything was going, but it's definitely a grass is greener situation for me, and I'm just like, "That's what I want to do."
Yep, I felt the same way, and
Yeah,
man, that was like the heyday too. That was when Forged Fire was huge, and
yeah,
everybody and their mom wanted a custom knife, and I think
right.
they just rode that wave.
They did a great. Both Jonathan, and what was his business partners? Aaron, can't remember his business, or
Uh,
Eric,
I
or
don't,
I can't remember.
I don't remember.
Anyways, yeah, those guys were both on there, and yeah, it was really impressive to watch them work. When you were first starting out to do, I guess, do those pre-orders or do those big drops, how did you like, not I guess technically it would be selling it to people, but how did you get people interested? Were they already signed up to a newsletter? Were they like, or did you just like randomly announcing it through social media and then you got a bunch of emails? How did that work?
Yeah, this is back in the Instagram heyday.
Yeah,
I set it up where with pre-orders where I used to stabilize my own wood
yeah,
until just recently. I would stabilize just huge batches, and then I would take and cut the scales and take pictures of the scales, and I would
okay.
upload the scales to my website, and I
Oh,
would say
interesting.
pre-order of, whatever, paring. I'll just say paring knife,
Sure.
and the list was just scales, so people would just pre-order their own unique scale, and
Okay.
yeah, and so I would just use that scale for that knife, and that
Yeah,
person would get that whole thing combined, and it was just word of mouth and Instagram. Really, I didn't
yeah,
have a newsletter on my website. Um, if I did, it was maybe only a couple hundred, if
sure.
that, on there.
Yeah,
So yeah, it was just Instagram mainly, and that worked out for a while, until everything changed on Instagram.
yeah. Just like over the last couple of years.
Yeah, I would say it's been like three
Okay.
years, solid 3 years at
Yeah.
least now.
You've noticed a big change in.
Yeah, like we talk, you guys talk about it on Knife Talk a lot
Sure.
about the flagging,
Right.
post getting flagged,
Yep.
and what the funny thing is now I pay Instagram to sponsor my posts.
Oh,
So what kind of bass backward stuff is this where you won't put my stuff on your explore page, but I can pay you money so that you can sponsor me and show people?
yeah,
Like,
yeah. Well, and
it's
especially when it's framed like these are weapons. These go against our community guidelines. But if you pay us, then we can overlook that.
right. It's what it seems like it is. That's exactly how it seems. And it seems like they know. I couldn't say any other thing than that. Like,
Yeah, that's
yeah,
interesting. Because I see paid ads of knives. I'm like, what the hell? Like, how does that
tons,
work? Yeah,
tons
tons
of
of
them.
them. Yeah, I
Yeah.
see a lot of them. And so I guess is that the newest tactic? Pay
It's been,
Instagram?
Yeah, it's been the tactic for the past 3 years, and that costs. I do $10 a day,
Okay.
and it depends on which post you're boosting. They call it boosting.
Yeah.
Some posts you get a lot of followers. Like I get around 20-ish followers a day for
Mm,
$10, so it's like 50 cents a follow.
yeah.
It adds up. It's like $3,000 a year,
Yeah.
but I just deduct that from the business.
Right.
So
Yeah. It's
it's
marketing.
kind of like tax. You know, it's basically taking out of my tax that I'm gonna have to pay. So it's kind of free marketing at the end of the day.
Yeah. It's part of your, yeah. If you can afford to do that, yeah, it totally makes sense to do that. Absolutely. And so I see. So it's helping you to continue to have visibility where otherwise
Mhm.
Instagram's not helping you to get visibility because the work that we do goes against the guidelines.
Yeah, yeah. The whole goal is to get your next $10,000 customer or a couple of them. And luckily, I'm very fortunate to have a couple rotating in and out at all times.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's pretty awesome.
yeah.
That's
And
pretty
then
great.
you get your onesie twosies, and then Christmas comes and it's bananas. But yeah.
Sure. No, that's super interesting. So when you were first started doing that tactic with the bots and stuff like that, um did you just figure that out on your own, or is that something you learned somewhere or saw somewhere? And then any tactics that you've done since then, are those things you're just kind of experimenting with and trying out and figuring out yourself, or are you seeing it work with other people or other things, or talking to other makers and figuring out what they're doing?
So the tactics that I've explained so far are the only ones I've implemented. Um, Now, the one I did talk about with the bots liking things, the whole algorithm has changed. That doesn't apply anymore
Sure.
for like high-end accounts. They don't. It doesn't work that way anymore. And I
Yeah.
did get flagged for that actually,
Oh,
so I had
really?
to stop. I had to
Yeah.
stop doing that. So now it's just kind of it's word of mouth, and it has to be through the sponsored stuff and the Explore. And um, yeah, other than that, it's I could push out to other things. Like I could focus more on like TikTok or YouTube and shorts like that. And I did see another maker who did a short just showing like a 7 second thing of like some Damascus knives, just kind of like that. And he got
Like
over like
panning
a
over
hundred.
them?
Yeah, and got like
Oh,
over a
interesting.
100,000 views. And I was
Oh,
like,
dang.
oh dang, the YouTube might be the way. So
Right.
I've been like dabbling in doing shorts, and I got one of them up to like
Yeah.
30,000 views,
Oh, nice.
and that was just like a forging video, but like showing my high-end mosaic Damascus, it doesn't really take off as much as I'd expect. It does get viewed more than Instagram does.
Oh, interesting.
So YouTube Shorts might be like the place to go if Instagram gets worse.
Yeah, I was talking to Dennis Tyrell, and he was like, YouTube's where it's at, dude.
Mm,
Like Instagram, I think he treats Instagram kind of like a portfolio of past work, as a way, like somewhere to send people, or if they want to see past work, for yeah, or if they see him like on YouTube or something like that. But he said he's getting tons of visibility through YouTube. Um, yeah, that's interesting.
yeah, I've seen his videos on there.
Yeah.
And he has like full videos on there too. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's got
Uh,
long form stuff, like hours.
yeah, and see, that is something I would love to do, but I am lazy when it comes to filming things.
Me too. Dude, I screw it up
Yeah,
every time too. I'm like, "Oops, I just missed the last hour of work. Sorry."
yeah. I can't just like stop focusing on what I'm doing and move a camera and stuff like that.
For
So
sure.
it's like, well, now I don't want to have to pay somebody to do all this content and have to have that as an investment to build up my YouTube account
Yeah,
over three years probably.
right.
And I don't have a brother like Kyle Royer, you know.
That son of a
That
bitch.
can do that. You know,
Oh, he's a great guy.
man, yeah, he's so cool. I met him at Blade last year, and
Yeah,
yeah, he's so nice.
yeah,
Uh, yeah, it'd be really cool to find like a high schooler that wants to get into like doing videography and doesn't want to get paid. Like maybe takes all the monetization stuff from YouTube just to film me. I don't
sure,
know. That would be cool. If there's anybody watching that wants to do that, just let me
for
know.
sure. Yeah, me too, me too. No, um, I I've thought about it, and it's like, man, you really have to either be a content creator or a knife maker, but you have to do one or the other. You can't really do both really well.
Unless
Now,
you're Alex
obviously,
Steele.
well, but what he's doing, what Will Stelter's doing, like they're making content around their projects, and then the builds are kind of a symptom of their content creation. And so they're not really, but they're not building at volume or at the levels like you were doing. There's just no way, especially, yeah, there's just no way unless they have a
Right.
few employees or something like that. The only way I thought that I could ever do something like YouTube, because I get people asking me to do YouTube channel and do more like instructional videos and stuff like that too, but it's like I can't. And Dennis does it by himself. But he's also, he does custom work. Um, but I would consider, I don't know. I feel like considering somebody more of a content creator, it sounds like I'm saying that they're not a real knife maker. He's definitely a real knife maker. But I feel like his focus is definitely the content, and then he makes good knives, right?
Mm.
And so I think the only way that I could personally, and I'd be curious what you think about this concept, because now we're just kind of jamming. Um, my idea would be to like partner with somebody, and yeah, basically like have them be invested in the long-term plan of the YouTube channel, building up to a point where it starts monetizing, and then that pays them for the content, or for the work that they're doing. And honestly, like me as the maker, I benefit from the visibility, which translates ideally, probably not, obviously not perfectly, but ideally into more sales, right? um
Hmm.
but the only way I can think to make that work is to have somebody in the shop filming and putting video together, just because I don't, like, I'm not a single guy like Will Stelter where I can do a bunch of making and footage and then do a bunch of editing and stuff and voiceover and posts and stuff throughout the day. And again, I'm not trying to diminish anybody. Like, he's working his ass off.
Yeah.
I don't have the time for that in my life right now.
Yep. Me neither. You know, I got a
Yeah.
fiance as well, and you know, once 7 o'clock comes around, and then 8 o'clock, it's like, okay, now it's time to spend time with her,
Yeah.
and that's super important.
Yeah.
And there's no time for editing. You know?
No. Yeah, and then so your full-time job would then be knife making, and then your side hustle, your part-time job would be 4 hours a night making YouTube videos. But like you said, your life is more complex now. You have more moving parts. And yeah, trying to figure that out and balance that out is really challenging. And that's why I'm like, the only way I could do that is if was partnered with somebody who's, again, like kind of invested
Mm.
in the long-term concept of building up a page. And yeah, building up a page and creating videos, for YouTube, for shorts, for educational, like behind paywall kind of stuff, um, or more
Yeah.
in-depth content. But yeah, it's tricky, man.
I
But
wonder
that's cool
how
that you're
good.
experimenting with shorts.
Yeah, yeah, I'm seeing how it goes. I wonder how good AI is getting at editing video. I wonder if that's going to be like a new thing in the near future where you just take footage and you just like throw it at an AI and it says, make me an awesome video.
Well, and with people like Kyle Royer and Alex Steele, or even Will Stelter's videos too, like they're making great, like visually compelling and interesting videos. I wonder if you put in a command or whatever you call it, you ask it, hey, make a video. This is the footage. Make a video like Alex Steele's, and then
Right.
just.
Yeah.
But I don't think
Done.
it's. I don't know if it's there yet.
Probably not.
Yeah, and part of me, honestly, like I wouldn't be opposed to doing the editing. I know it would take a long time, and I probably wouldn't be putting out a lot of videos, especially initially. But just having somebody in the shop to take video, honestly, like even if there was a maker who, because I think especially for either a newer maker or even an experienced maker, it's a great opportunity to see like kind of behind the scenes and be kind of like peeking over the shoulder of the fly
Oh,
on the
right.
wall in somebody's shop. So they're helping you get footage while visually learning and chatting with you throughout the day, and kind of
Yeah.
coordinate that so you're like you have a string of like 1 or 2 or 3 days, or however long of a project you got going on. They come and take video, they hang out and do some learning, while the trade-off is that you're getting footage taken, and then you spend like the next month editing video and breaking it down into shorts and into YouTube videos, and then maybe something more in depth educational that you can put on your website or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. You can get like an apprentice, like I have in the past, and maybe force them to do that for a
Force them.
while.
Hold the camera. No,
Yeah.
over here. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't have an apprentice anymore right now.
Yeah.
He's back in Montana.
I got you.
Yeah. Yeah.
How is
I've had
yeah,
two
so-
apprentices
okay.
so far.
Really?
Yeah. And my neighbor was my apprentice for a while, and then Nate Kurtz
Yeah.
was yeah, he grew up in Petaluma, which is pretty close to here. It's around
Okay.
Napa. And yeah, he moved out to Montana last year, and he's been coming back every once in a while to help me out in the shop for a couple weeks to a month. And it's just harder to get him out here now because he's getting bigger roots over there, it seems
Sure.
like.
Yeah.
And it's kind of hard to pay him at the moment, because this past year feels like longer than a year. My fiance has been going to RN school,
Okay.
and she's going to be finishing up next spring. Right now, she got her. She's already an LVN. She's gonna be finishing up next spring, and then so I've been like the main financial person, and I
Yeah.
haven't been able to like aff- afford or do much. So I've just been keeping my head down and like
Yeah.
making knives and focusing on what needs to get done. But it's a huge investment, because once she has an RN job, I mean, we're in California. That's big money,
Yeah.
and then we'll
You're gonna
sky's
have
the
health
limit.
insurance. You're gonna.
Yeah, yeah, it's gonna be great. It's a
Oh
big
yeah.
investment, and I can't wait. It's just taking time,
Yeah.
and then I'll be able to like make more things that I want to make, like
Yeah.
explore Damascus patterns and
Right.
do more.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and a dual income household's gonna really help to create that time. Um. Oh damn it! What the hell was I just gonna ask? Am I hearing music in the background?
There are goats, roosters, maybe
Oh,
a
it's
buzz of
definitely
a refrigerator.
okay. For some reason, maybe it's the flies. I keep thinking I'm hearing somebody
Oh,
sing.
yeah, there's flies. I'm on a ranch, so there's
Yeah,
flies everywhere, and it's annoying. And so if you see me go like this, there's flies.
I
Yeah.
got you. I got you. Oh man. One model that I'm really surprised I haven't seen more people take inspiration from or influence or whatever you want to call it is what Jeff Fader does, where he works with kind of not necessarily like sometimes he works with famous people, but working with um kind of influential people who have an audience, um and kind of getting around the algorithm in the way that he's making content with these people around cooking, and the collaboration projects that he does. So he's not only he's getting more visibility, or he's getting visibility through to a potentially completely different audience of people who are potentially also the target audience, who are people who cook or interested in food and
Mm.
cooking. But also because of these collaborations and doing these limited runs, he's also working with them to sell the knives in a way. I think he's still doing a lot of the legwork in regards to the sales, but to kind of have that person there to work with, I'm really surprised I haven't seen more people do that. And I'm sure, I mean, I'm sure part of it is that it's also a lot of fucking work. But I feel like somebody like a maker like you, and the way that you work could really kind of capitalize on your ability to put out volume, as well as quality work, and being like in California and being close to Napa, being close to to the Bay Area, kind of being in California in general. And honestly, you don't necessarily even have to collaborate with somebody just in California, um, but I feel like there's a lot of potential there.
Yeah, that's a great
I've thought
point.
about it lots of times, but I don't do a lot of volume. I'm doing 1 or 2 knives a month on top of, you know, teaching, doing the Patreon, doing the sharpening. Although I
Yeah.
do sometimes think, "Hmm, are there better places," especially with the sharpening, like, "Are there better things I could be doing with my time right now?" But,
I feel you
yeah,
there. And what do you feel like you want to do more of? It seems like, I'm not putting you down at all, but it seems like you've taken a step back from
I have.
making knives and just like focused on teaching. And it seems like you enjoy that a lot.
Yeah, I really do enjoy the teaching. Um, Although I like, what is it, last year? Actually, you were part of last year's teaching rampage. But I had like 10 different teaching engagements, almost or 12, 10 or 12, I can't remember. Basically one a month. And what I found, because the year before that I did like 3 or maybe 4, I can't remember exactly. But what I found was that it was a lot. It was especially like even the time it takes to travel to and fro, like that's at least a couple days. And then, getting right back into the shop, I really struggle with that. And so by the time I'd get back from teaching, I'd kind of start to get into a workflow, and then it felt like I got to leave again. And so I never really picked up much momentum. Um, and so it's just it's I really enjoy it, and I want to continue doing it, but I do need to. I'm just trying. I'm like working to find that balance, because this year I've definitely taught a lot less. Like by this point, I had already taught like 6 different classes, um, over the last 6 months, and this year I think I've taught 3 or 4 maybe. Um, definitely slowed it back a little bit, but um, I what I would really like to do is to do more content, but also more educational content. Kind of almost exactly what I was telling you about. Basically, working with somebody, either a partner, a business partner, that would be like separate from the knife making business. That would be basically a content business, um, where we're basically 50-50. I create educational content, they do the editing and filming, and then uh for the in-depth stuff I would sell that through my website, and then YouTube stuff would just making long form and short form for YouTube, but not necessarily as in depth. Because if you go and watch Alex content, like, he's got a lot of cool information, but it's not really an education platform. He's not there really trying to go super in depth in teaching, but
Mm.
it's like visually compelling, and very interesting to watch, and he does a really great job, I think. And
Hmm.
but then also, breaking some of that content down to even to shorts, or to other kind of like whatever behind the scenes, or even making mistakes, like, I don't know, just silly stuff, or just stuff that's interesting to watch. I would like to do that. And I've been playing with the idea of transitioning to a model where I'm producing steel, making steel, not like there's no way I could. I'm set up to do the volume like Baker Forge or any of these other guys, like Vegas Forge or any of those guys. The amount of steel that they're putting out, but putting out steel every once in a while, making a knife from that steel to kind of like show what that steel looks like, and then selling it and just moving on to the next thing. Because what I've really found, I love making steel, and I love the experimentation and the learning process of making these different patterns and like the process of discovery. But I make it, and then I'm like, and I make a knife from it. I'm like, cool, I'm bored. And then I just set the steel down, and like I have a shelf full of steel that is just stuff that I made a knife from it, and then I moved on. Um, and so it's just steel just laying there. So trying to figure out how to do that kind of in a productive way that helps me to pay the bills, helps to keep my interests engaged, and honestly, like those are the two big things. Keep me interested, keep me busy, keep me engaged, and pay the bills. That's what I need.
It
But
sounds like maybe your business would be making a forged integral and then selling that forged integral to
I've thought
somebody
about
to
that.
finish.
I've thought about that. I have thought about
That's
that.
that seems like your passion.
I'm
I think you
very
should
good at it too. I'm
I
very
think you
good
should
at
chase
forging knives.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, and I've
because
thought about it because really, like, I obviously Baker Forge does the forged integral blanks, and that way somebody can do whatever blade profile they want. But I've thought about doing that with mosaics and stuff like that. The thing that always scares me is like, even though I know it wouldn't be my fault, like if something went sideways with the steel and went wrong with the steel, I would still feel like a sense of ownership, or like it was my fault. It fell back on me, on my shoulders, and it might
uh,
like represent me poorly. And I'm just like, that stress, even just
oh
thinking about
no.
it stresses me the fuck out.
Don't let that hold you back. It'd be a case by
Yeah.
case thing. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, well, what
Well,
did you
yeah.
do?
Right, exactly. And the reality is like it would maybe happen like maybe once or twice a year.
You could tell a difference between like a crack by somebody messing with it and an inclusion. Like
Oh,
it's
for
pretty
sure.
easy to see. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. And so, yeah, I've definitely thought about that as well. But then like what do you price that at? Say I make a bar of steel, I can get, and it takes 3 or 4 days, I can get 2 knives out of it, and then I sell it. Like am I going to sell those each for like 12 to $2,500 each, or like what am I going to do?
Yeah, that's the hard part, right? The
Yeah.
pricing it, because once those turn around and get sold, I mean, made into real knives, it depends on the maker and how much they can get out of it.
Right. Well, that's the thing
Because
that always
yeah,
blows
it's
me
hard.
away about Damasteel. I love this. Like, it's a great material, but fuck, it is expensive.
It's like 25 bucks an inch.
Well, and I do it by the cubic inch, so it's like $100 a cubic inch, right? If not
Yeah, yeah.
possibly more. I mean, it depends on, I guess, yeah. In
Oh, so you
general,
forge it out?
yeah. Well, yeah, I do forge the Damasteel.
Yeah.
Um, but even still, like that's how I figure out I always do the math by the cubic inch. Um, which is pretty, yeah. Anyways, um, I haven't done it in a while. I don't know what their pricing looks like now, but last time I did the math, which was actually, I think it was like 5 or 6 years ago. Yeah, it was about $100 a cubic inch. It might be closer to like 150 these days or so, 120,
Yeah, I was looking on Jant Supply the other day, just browsing, and their
Yeah.
Damasteel, it ranged from like 17 to $28 per inch, and that's like two
Well,
inch bars that are chef knife thickness.
so like 3/16, just over an eighth.
Probably like um under that, thinner than that.
Really?
Maybe 332 or a little thicker, maybe an eighth.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was so I mean if you're getting like a 12-inch piece, that's you know, it's pretty
Yeah.
pricey.
Yeah. So that's just over 90,000, which is, yeah, that would be 330 seconds. Yeah. Times 2 times how long?
So if you're gonna do like if you're gonna do a full tang versus hidden tang, it's different. But 12-inch piece, I would say, is for hidden tang.
Yeah.
So it's a little over $300, I'm sure.
So and that bar was $300.
I would. I'm guessing. I'm guessing.
I got you. So
Yeah.
that bar, if it's 330 seconds, 2 inches wide, and 12 inches long, is 2.25 cubic inches. And then if we estimate 300 divided by 2.25, that's $133 an inch, a cubic inch.
Yeah. My brain doesn't work in cubic inches, so it's hard for me to understand that.
It's just because I work at volume for especially forging integrals. And so it's just,
Yeah, and you teach that class with the forging, all that kind of stuff. And I find it funny because I just I just make a shit ton of steel and it's thick and
no.
I grind it down because I don't want to have to deal with the decarb or even worry about it at
Oh
all.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No,
I
honestly, that's not a bad move. It's actually, I think that's a smarter way to do it. I've fucked up a lot of patterns being like, oh, I only need 2.38 cubic inches to forge out an 8-inch integral. And then I'll stretch the pattern to hell all over the place. And by the time I've fucked up mosaics because I'm forging it really close to like the heat treating dimension. And
yeah.
I'm then after spending all that time and honestly just like the material too, the time making the material and then forging out that blade and the care that I put into like welding it up and getting it and just to see the pattern all stirred up and mixed up is infuriating. I'm just like, I'm so stupid. If I added even just like another half of a cubic inch, I would have been able to I would have gotten the same size knife. I would have preserved the pattern because I would have had more than enough material at that point to forge the size knife out that I needed without unnecessarily disrupting or distorting the pattern. And so forging to profile is a better move, especially with mosaics.
Yeah, yeah. And you can get like a rogue piece of scale in there, and if you go a
Oh
little too
yeah.
thin with that scale in there, now all of a sudden that thing go deep, and then you're chasing that grind, and now you got a laser, and you didn't mean to
That's what the
make a
S grind's
laser.
for. No, I'm just joking.
Yeah, well, yeah. But if it's in the tip, then you're screwed.
Oh yeah. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, I've seen that happen.
Yeah.
Everybody's seen that happen. That's terrible.
Well, and yeah, yeah. I've had blades where I've had an errant piece of scale just build up and get shoved into the face so deep, and I'm just like, cool, can't use this. That sucks.
Yeah, yeah. It's either a shorter knife or it's a throwaway.
Yeah.
Or it's an auction knife where it's like, oh well, this is a blemish, so anybody want it?
Yeah, yeah.
But I know you don't do that. You do like just quality. You don't want anything with your name on it that isn't top shelf, and that's always been your thing, and
It's
that's
just
really cool.
I think it's a insecurity thing. I don't know if insecurity, OCD, control, like being overly controlled. It's just like I don't even think I've made 200 knives yet at
Oh
this
wow,
point.
really?
Um, yeah, because I just like I have a problem with perfectionism, which I've gotten much better at. But yeah, I slow way down. Like I get to that halfway point or that 3/4 point, like 75%, and that's of like the process. But then in regards to time, that first 75% of the making process is actually the first half in regards to time, and then the last half of time is just like that last 25% in regards to the finish grinding, the finish hand sanding, the blade finishing, the handle finishing, all that stuff. I
Yeah,
slow way down, and I think that's a problem I have. Um, but even I've done those small batches, those whatchamacallit? What do I call those? The Smith and Bard, uh, like these small batch series. And I didn't even do 10 of those. But
yeah. That was really cool to see, though. Yeah, I was like, oh yeah, right on. Let's go.
well, me back into like my production background working for Bob Kramer. Um, and it was good, but at the same time, when my name is on it, because my name wasn't on the knife, I don't think exactly, but still, like it was still tied to me. I was like, I had a really hard time letting them go, and like the goal was for those knives to be like 8-hour knives, like total from start to finish, the amount of work that went into
Mm,
them. They did not. They ended up still being like 20-hour knives.
Each?
Yeah, I spent way too much time on all of
Oh
those
my
knives.
God.
Yeah.
Well, they look great. I
Well,
can.
they look great.
They look great. I have like a generalized picture in my head of what they looked like. I kind of
Sure.
remember.
I could pull them up if you. Yeah.
I remember big white liners, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And
Which I'm
there's
still surprised. I haven't really actually seen anybody do that the way I did it. Because I guess what I'm surprised by is like I thought it was a fucking good look, but maybe I was wrong. Maybe I was just like, yeah, I did something cool. Everybody's gonna want to do that, and then nobody did.
nobody wants to mess with white. That's too much white. It's too big. It
It
it,
is a lot
it
of
takes
white,
takes a lot to
dude.
clean up.
It was such a actually. You know what the trick was?
What?
It was a eraser. Just using a drafting eraser, like for draft or for like drawing and drafting.
Like a
What
pencil or like one of those white erasers?
the white ones, the soft white ones. That pulled all of the dust and bullshit out of that so quick. It was awesome. Here they are.
I'll keep that in mind for when I do mine.
Well, and I also like the spacer was a paper micarta. And so it was super soft and picked up all kinds of dust and schmutz and crap. I hated it.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've worked with paper micarta that was crosscut. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, man. Yeah,
It's
just
such
the
a good
curve,
look.
the little swoop you have right there at the front of the bolster with that white.
Yeah,
Oh man,
I know. It's
are those?
fucking cool.
Is that one Corby bolt in there?
Uh it's one Corby bolt, but there's actually five hidden pins inside the handle. So there's 6 altogether.
Wow, what steel is that?
It was actually just 1075. I
Man,
didn't
they look
even.
so clean. They look like stainless.
Yeah, and it was just a machine finish.
That's machine?
Yeah.
How is you like a high grit belt and then a buffer?
Machine, and then I think I did the machine, and then no, not I didn't even use Scotch Brite. So I machine finished it to 220, and then I had a 220 belt that I would load up with the black polishing compound, and then I'd go back over all of it all over again. And that leaves a really nice finish.
Are the
So
scratches going towards the tip from the handle? No, they're not. Okay, I can see it right there.
they're spine to edge.
Wow.
And I think part of it was also the lighting in these photos. Man, it's such a good look.
It's nice.
uh
I've done
yeah.
something similar to that where I had carbon fiber thick liners, and
Okay.
that turned out really cool with like a black and red Curanite. I think
Oh,
that's what
nice.
you. Yeah.
Well, the trick to this though, so I do have a shallow angle from the transition from the blade into the handle in that bolster area, but that liner is tapered. It's not a straight liner, it's tapered. And
Is
that's
it
how.
is it is the tang tapered as well?
Yeah.
Wow. It just went all out. No wonder it took you 20 hours.
Yeah. Let's see, pull in here. Yeah. So there's just this, I think back at the butt of the handle, the liner was like maybe an eighth of an inch, but at the front of the handle, it was almost 3/8. And so it
Dang.
tapers, and then I had the handle scale on top of it.
Tapers on top of tapers.
Tapers on tapers, baby.
Yeah. No, it looks so good.
It does. Actually, I would like to do that series again, but do it with Damascus pieces.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man.
Because the one thing I realized after doing it, I was like, because actually the second batch that I sold, I had a hard time moving. It was only 3 knives. I had a hard time moving them, and I was like, what the fuck? And then I was like, oh, well, one, it might have been the pricing. I feel like we overreached with the pricing. Um, but
What were they?
two, really more than anything, people want Damascus from me. And
Yeah.
that's what I was like, oh. And at that point, if it was Damascus, I would feel a lot better about the pricing. I think those were at like 25 or something like that.
Oh yeah, you said 1075 steel.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
$2,500.
Well,
Yeah,
and that's yeah.
that's crazy that you can sell that. I can't even sell a knife for $2,500. Not even once. My highest knife sold was 2,200.
22. Well, and I've been
Yeah,
seeing you've been doing a lot of auctions lately.
yeah. It's just keeping things moving. For
Sure.
whatever reason, this has been a weird year. I know Fader has talked about it. It has
Yeah.
picked up recently, but
That's good.
yeah, people aren't letting their money go as much.
Sure.
So, and the custom orders are like, "Hello, where are you?"
Right. Oh,
Like I
interesting.
haven't changed anything, and I've only gotten better. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't know what's up. Economy is weird. I feel like the custom knife stuff isn't in the mainstream anymore like it was when
Sure.
Forge and Fire was huge. I feel like there's a lot of factors building up, but I do get a lot of like people that end up getting auction knives. And the cool thing about the auctions is that they can get them at a really great price point right now
Yeah.
from me, and then they understand, oh shit, I just got a killer deal. Once they get it in hand, they're like, oh
Yeah.
my god, this is worth like $400, and I got it for 280. And then they become a multi-thousand-dollar customer easily, and they just keep hitting those auctions. And then
Yeah.
some auctions they go more than I expect them, and some go lower than I expect them.
Sure.
It's just like a mixed bag, and but it keeps things moving while in this weird turmoil era, I
Yeah.
guess.
Well, and we've talked about the idea of doing a collaboration kind of together,
Oh,
but
I
that was
love that.
that was that was when I was down there. Or I guess maybe after I was down there, we talked about it, but then I don't know. I have a hard time remembering things, especially if I get distracted by stuff. Um, and I've also recently in my life I've got a lot of kind of moving parts and things are kind of crazy right now. But I think that would be fun, and that's actually something I wanted to do. Actually, oh, was it this year? Last year, I wanted to do a lot more auctions that were just like fun collaboration projects, more than anything, just for funsies. Um, and have each banker basically do half the work and then put it up for auction and sell it. Um, and
Yeah, you got a stockpile of forged knives that you could just like you can contact 20 makers. I don't know how many you have, but and just go, hey, you
I got
want
a
one of
lot.
these, and then
Yeah.
you can collaborate and do an auction together. I would imagine you could probably make tens of thousands of dollars in a short period of time shoveling those out if you want to go that route.
Sure. Yeah, it's tricky to figure it out, man. I don't know. And my problem is like I feel like I have 1,000 ideas. And honestly, if I just focus on making knives, I'd be just fine. But I'm so distracted by all these different things drawing my attention away. Um, yeah, it's a me problem.
It's okay. I
Yeah.
got no problems with that. I have
Um,
lots of me problems as well.
yeah. So okay, so I'm curious too about the auctions. I because one of the time what was it? Well, one when I was working for Bob Kramer, that's when he first started doing his auctions. And his first auction, a knife sold for 8,000, and I think at that point, like a 10-inch Damascus chef's knife was like $5,000 from Bob Kramer, and so then one sold for 8,000. And but the concept between him running that auction was kind of to test the market to see what the market would bear, basically regarding
Yeah.
price. And though I don't feel like if I were, I guess if because I've kind of dabbled in that a little bit, but it's also been kind of scary because you put it up and it's like you start the bidding at $100. It's like, cool, this might sell for $100.
Oh, I know all about it. Trust me. I know all about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had knives that I've spent a lot of time on, and they go for less than what I would want for them. But then again, it's like, okay, well, now it's out the door. I got 2/3 of the price that I wanted, which is kind of like if I were to give it to a shop for consignment, and it's not
Actually, that's
sitting on
a
the website,
mm,
for months.
that is a great way to reframe that, because it could just feel like a kick in the teeth. But if you reframe it in that way, it's same difference, right?
Yeah, it's sold. I got money in the pocket. On to the next, and
Yeah.
that's just how I've been rolling recently.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I
but
feel like
stuff does sell off the website. Still like
nice.
I had a sale today already, and yeah, it goes.
I was actually I was looking through your website, and I forgot that you do these like little series runs, and you have one that's what is it, Mythic, and I think you had
Oh yeah.
Lilith on there. She was the first wife of Adam, right?
Uh, yes, yes. That was it's a book that was not included in the Bible. All about Lilith, and Lilith ended up doing something bad. I forget, and God turned her into a snake, and she was a snake that came back and
To the
did
Garden
the
of Good,
whole, yeah,
to
into
the
the
Garden
Garden
of
of
Eden.
Eden.
That
Hmm.
was supposed to be Lilith.
Yes, and she is married to Lucifer. Yeah. Um,
Interesting.
Yeah, the Mythic series is my fun little thing. I
I got you.
love mythology,
Sure, I do too.
and I mean, I got the Greek key pattern on my wrist,
Yeah.
and I got Hephaestus right here
Oh, nice.
with the hammer.
Right.
He's forging. Yeah, so it's like it's my artistic investment basically.
Mm,
The Mythics, they cost a lot of money to make because there's a lot of like specific materials that usually are higher end that I
I
like
got
to
you.
do. I do 10 knives. They're all numbered. There's only 10 per myth, and they're kind of collectible. I include a certificate of authenticity. Lilith was the sixth one.
Okay.
We've had, it was Griffin, Medusa, Kraken, Fenrir, Oni, and then Lilith was the last one. And I already have the next one picked out. I'm just trying to find a time where I can invest into the materials because
Sure. Sure.
I want to do a really nice Saya, and it's going to cost a lot of money to get that material,
Sure.
and it's going to be ocean themed. Should I reveal what it is?
Uh, is it? I can't think of his name. The Greek name. Is it Neptune?
No, no, no. It's
No. Oh.
if you think to the Odyssey, it's one of the big parts in the ocean in the Odyssey.
Okay. The sirens.
There you go. It's going to be a siren.
Is it nice?
Yep, yep. I don't know if I'm gonna go topless or not because with Medusa we went topless and they sold like hotcakes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
That'll get you like ultra banned on Instagram. Except for it's art, right?
It's art. It's art.
Art's allowed to be topless.
Yep.
Um, interesting. Who do you work with an artist to come up with the artwork, or do you commission or buy the artwork?
I used to. I used to. I paid a friend's girlfriend uh, to do the first three,
Oh, cool.
four, first four. But to cut expenses because it's an extra $500 for that artwork,
Yeah.
I use AI now, and
Uh-huh.
I tell it to do black and white in the form of a certain form, and then my graphic designer friend who has a big laser machine, he kind of like edits it and makes it more capable for
For the laser.
engraving.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm steering away from engraving the blades
Mm,
because it's like it's kind of distracting and it's kind of like a mess on a blade. It's kind of just too much.
okay.
And it also warps the blade because of the heat.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
is a big pain in the ass.
Right.
So I'm kind of like now doing it on my Sayas only.
Oh,
And I
okay.
did that with Lilith. and that came out really good. The only
Yeah.
problem is that I was gonna do it on a different type of wood, but woods don't laser the same, and that was a headache, and I had to change gears and stuff like that. Um, so yeah, it's just like Mythics. They're like my passion project, but they're also my pain in the ass project. And then once they're done, you know, I have one customer that buys every single one that is number 6, and then
Hmm.
I need 10 more of those. And if I have 10 more of those, they sell out immediately. So, or
Oh,
at
okay.
least nine more of those.
Yeah.
So that's what the hope is. But
Do you already have the rest of them, like concepts for the rest of them?
I just have the next one, and then
Okay,
I'll think of the next one after that.
I got you.
Yeah.
What are some of your most favorite myths, I guess? From yeah, go ahead.
My favorite myths, excluding my mythics
No, not yeah. Sorry, just like in general.
in general. Um, I like anything dark, like dark stuff.
Okay.
Just so like I don't know if you ever heard. Okay, so here I get nerdy again.
Let's
There's
do
a
it.
game called Hades.
Okay.
It's a award-winning game on Steam. It's all about Greek mythology, and it's basically a
Oh,
guy
interesting.
fighting his way out of the 3 layers of hell.
Yeah.
And there's all kinds of creatures in there, but I think the Muse will be
Are the
one of them.
Hecatonchi rays part of it?
The what?
Hecatonchi rays.
I don't know what that is.
Oh no, I thought they were at the deepest uh, part of hell. What's that called? I can't even remember what it's called. My kid and I used to listen to this podcast called Greeking Out, and it was Greek mythology rewritten for children. And it's got 10 seasons, and we've listened through the catalog like 3 or 4 times.
Oh wow, that's really cool.
It's super cool. It's super fun, and it's funny.
I'll, I'll have to look into that.
Yeah, definitely check it out. Okay, but anyways, okay. So he has to fight his way out
Yeah, he
of
has to fight his way out of the 3 layers of hell, and
yeah.
yeah, there's you got all the Olympus gods and stuff like that, like Hades
Okay.
and Zeus and all that.
Tardis.
But
Tardis is the deepest part of hell, right?
yes, Tartarus,
Tardis. Tardis.
and
Tardis.
then there's Asphodel, and then there's Elise. Is it Elysium?
Elysium, yeah.
Yeah, I made a sword and I named it Asphodel because the pattern looked like lava, and the second layer is supposed to be like lots of lava.
Right.
Uh, yeah, I like dark things, so I like to focus on. That's why I did Lilith last time and Oni
Sure.
and stuff
I
like
don't know
that.
Oni. What's an Oni?
Oni is a Japanese demon.
Oh, like are
Yeah,
there those demon masks with the
the
giant
demon
teeth?
masks. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
a couple different types of them. Like there's one with the
Okay.
long nose, and then the one with big tusks is the
Yeah.
Oni. Yeah,
Cool.
so I like to focus on that stuff.
I like that. Okay, so wait, okay, so you were saying I was asking you about your favorite myth, and then you were talking about the game Hades from Steam. And so it is like is that based off of a particular myth, or is it just set in the mythological world of Greek mythology?
It's set in Hades' dominion of hell,
Mhm.
and his son is trying to get out to meet his mom, which is Hades' wife. What's her name?
Persephone.
Persephone. Yeah. So she's in this garden up above, and basically once the son Zagreus or whatever his name is, we'll call him Zag. He gets out. He can only stay up in the real world for a short amount of time before he dies, and so
Oh.
you're basically playing to get out of hell continuously
Oh,
forever.
interesting.
And every time you get out of hell, you get a little bit of tidbit with your mom, and the story progresses, and eventually the
Oh,
mom
interesting.
the mom
Yeah,
ends up coming down back to hell and living with Hades again. And Hades is a son of a bitch. He's a
he
mean
is. He's a
mofo.
tricky bastard.
Yeah. But yeah, we can stop nerding out about a game.
No, Greek mythologies. I was like, that sounds like if anything sounded like a Sisyphusian labor, that sounds like one. I gotta get up there and visit my mom, and then you just go right back to hell.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's wild. Yeah,
I
I,
was I
I
was
like that.
toying with maybe doing Prometheus,
Mm,
um, but I kind of just skipped over that one because that's one hell of a story where you're just nailed to the side of a mountain to get eaten by crows every day
yeah,
because you gave man fire
right.
to help them. It's yeah, it's a rough one.
Well, I think one of the most interesting, or I guess not one of the most interesting, but one character that I learned about from Greek mythology that I always thought was very interesting was what's his name? Daedalus. He's the father of Icarus. And he was the one that designed the labyrinth that the Minotaur lives in on the island of Minos. And um something happens. They end up getting like trapped in the labyrinth because oh, I think Daedalus like tricked one of the kings of one of the islands, or the king of Minos. Um and they ended up finding their way because he designed it, but it's all black in there, and the Minotaur's in there. And so they end up finding their way out of there, and then that leads to um, the wings that Icarus is famous for flying too close to the sun and then dying. Um, but Daedalus was like an incredibly ingenuitive maker and creator and builder of things, and I'd never heard of him before. I heard about him or heard those stories on that kid podcast about Greek mythology.
Yeah, I haven't heard that story before.
It's a good one.
What is
I'll send it to you on
yeah,
Spotify.
yeah, please do. I want to
Yeah,
listen to
it's
that.
it's one of my favorite ones. Yeah, but it all in general, that podcast is super good. Okay, sorry, we went down the Greek mythology. I don't know why. I've always like when I first started learning about Greek mythology, I think it was like the what is it, the Hercules series that was on like like on TBS or the WB or whatever it was, like back in the early mid '90s or something like that. Um, that was my first exposure to Greek mythology, and ever since, like, and then in my sophomore year in high school, we covered Greek mythology again, as
Hmm.
well as both in history and in English class, and I was just enamored by it. And so I have
Same.
several books of Greek mythology. Now I have not read any of them, but I I love learning about them wherever I can. I think part of it is they're kind of the direct translations are challenging to read because the way of that things were written or spoken when they were originally written is not the same as how we speak. And so it's kind of like
Yeah,
this weird yeah.
disconnect.
Yeah, it's just really tricky to like cuz you're like translating as you're reading.
And the way they thought of and spoke was different than how we do. It's just like how you other languages
Yeah.
they put certain words before others, and it's like, wait, what? Yeah,
Yeah.
what are you saying?
Or
Yeah.
or just not even grasping like the impact of certain phrases that might seem like very simple phrases, but back in those days like it was a serious insult or something like that, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, they're cool. I love Greek mythology.
Yeah, I heard that they had a temple for every single day for a different god
Whoa.
in I think it was in Greece,
Sure.
or it was Rome. Either one. One of them, they had a temple, and so the day that that Greek god had its thing, you would go to that temple that day, and then there would be another temple for another day, and it was
Interesting.
the whole year.
Yeah. Well,
Every day had its own thing.
yeah, and there's only like what is it, 12, 8, or I think 8 Olympic gods, with some demigods who were raised up to the Olympic pantheon that made it like a solid 12 or whatever. But there, thanks to Zeus, there are thousands of, or I guess probably hundreds of illegitimate half god, demigod, uh, I guess Greek gods out there like Hercules and Athena and and so many others.
Why was he getting busy? Is that what you're saying?
Oh yeah, that was Zeus's thing. Yeah,
Yeah, Zeus is so mainstream. It's like I don't want to do any super mainstream mythics.
sure.
Like you won't see me do Zeus until I'm making like Bob Kramer types of money off of these things.
Yeah, yeah. I got you. Well, and I think that's cool because you're doing it more for the story rather than just like something that's easily recognized or whatever.
Yeah, I'm trying to do like the middle ground where it's like somewhat known but
Sure.
not very well known.
Did you read the Percy Jackson series or watch the movies?
No, I have seen him around though.
Yeah. I think I watched the first one. It was interesting. I mean, it was entertaining enough. Um, gosh, I feel like I was watching a different one too about Greek gods, but I can't remember what it is right now. Cool story. Anyways. um, okay, so where okay, so you're still doing runs. Actually, I want to share one that you did recently. Let's see if I can pull this up. Yeah, they're these giant slicers. Honyaki kitchen sword, 1095, 10 inches. I'm going to share these real quick. I'm curious if you can share like what your thought process is when you develop these runs and then how you go about like building these knives out and um yeah, just like deciding the handle materials and deciding like what style knife it's going to be and then how you go about turning around and kind of like marketing that out and selling it and getting people interested in them.
Yeah, so um, hang on, I'm being called again.
Uh-oh.
Dang it. I'm not gonna touch it. I'm not gonna touch it. I'm just gonna wait for the ringtone to go away.
So
It's in
I
my
can't hear
ears.
I can't hear the ringtone on my end.
Yeah.
And I'm sure
All
it's
right,
super
so
annoying for you. Go ahead. Oh shit, it did it. It still went over. Hold on. You got to redo it. It still went over. All right. He'll be right back, folks. These knives, he does these series and they're like and these are so if you're not familiar with the term honyaki, it is the traditional term that refers to a hamon or a differentially hardened blade. I'm going to pull him back in here. And so these 10-inch slicers all have hamon. Wait, you there?
yep, I'm here.
All right, cool. Yeah, so these 10-inch blades all have hamons or honyakis. They have all, for the people who are only listening and are not necessarily watching the video, all these beautiful burls dyed different colors. Looks like there might be a couple resin handles on here too. They're super cool. But anyways, all right, please, sir, share your process with us.
Yeah, so the kitchen sword is something I came up with a number of years ago. It's just
Okay.
like your I wouldn't say basic slicer. It's kind of just like a slicer that is about an inch and a half tall. And I love making honyaki stuff.
Yeah,
It's like my fascination with the Japanese swords and stuff like that. And
I got you. Yeah.
um, so these are actually water jet cut out. I use that program Knife Print. I got onto it this
Oh, really?
last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got onto it this last year. I've been using New Jersey Steel Barons water jetting since forever now. I don't know,
I
four
got you.
years. And I want to try this out. They have limited stock of like different steels there. I think they're
Sure.
based out of Europe or something like that, but it's kind of more
Oh,
convenient
yeah,
where
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't have
The
to
knife
like,
print.
yeah, I don't have to like contact and do all this kind of stuff. But I don't think I'm going to go and do knife print as much anymore. I'm going to get back with the New Jersey Steel Baron. But these are 1095. 1095 is like my bread and butter. It's the
Sure.
one steel that I know the most about because I've used it the most. And
Right.
so I get these in water jet. They're an eighth thick. I don't like getting an eighth, but it works for this just because all they had available. I like to get 3/32 thick
Oh,
for
interesting.
basically everything. That way I don't have to put as much of a taper on it, so it's less grinding.
Right.
Um, the the Honyaki part is pretty easy. I use refractory cement. I don't use Satanite. I've switched to Satanite and I've switched back to refractory cement. Satanite, for whatever reason, for me, it likes to just fall off, and it doesn't
Oh,
matter how I
yeah.
prepare it
Yeah.
or whatever I
I've
do,
had I've had that same problem.
it just falls off. So here, my refractory cement's right over here. I'll show everybody. Um, I've been using this for years, and it sticks on really, really well. It's backwards, I know, but it's Miko's Red Devil refractory cement. You
Oh,
can find
yeah,
it
yeah,
on.
yeah. I've seen that. Yeah, you can find that stuff at like I've seen it actually even at like Home Depot. But you can
It's on
also find
Amazon
it
too.
on Amazon at fireplace supply stores. Yeah.
Yeah, and the great thing about this is if your forge is like fluxed to hell, you can just slap that in there too.
Oh, that's an interesting move.
Yep. So that's
I've
what I do.
never I might have to I'll have to keep that in mind for the future. That's a good
Yeah,
move.
yeah. I just put a glove on and just slap it in there, and it keeps it going. And
Really?
you don't even have to heat it up slow. You can just turn your forge on full blast and it won't bubble up.
Oh, nice. That's
Yeah.
great. I was talking with Trey Hill. I don't know if you're familiar with Third Hill Customs and Trey's work. He does
Hmm.
really great Hamon work, and he's using the new Claire system, and it's these clays developed by this maker named Daniel. Oh, Daniel, can't remember his last name right now. Sorry, Daniel, if you're listening. uh, and but the stuff is phenomenal, and the hormones he's getting are really rad.
I've seen him. Yeah, you just reminded me. His hormones have been just insane. I
Yeah,
wanted to reach out to him and ask him like, what the hell, man?
you
Where's
got
this
to go
magic
listen to
coming
the
from?
episode. He talks all about it, man.
All right, I'll go listen.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
just a couple months back. Yeah, he gets into it, and yeah, it's super impressive.
yeah. The hormones are tricky. It's like you got to have the right temperature. You got to have the right pre-grind. You got to have the right oil temp to get that perfect activity
Right,
to stick in there. If you grind too far, it kind of disappears.
right. Because it's a
And then
surface. It's a surf. If you think about it, it's almost like an iceberg floating on the surface of the water, right? And the deeper you grind, the more kind of like you're removing that iceberg a little bit. Or I guess maybe that's not the best illustration because
it kind of makes sense in a reverse way. Yeah.
yeah, in the reverse, I just realized because there's more iceberg underneath the water that you typically can't see. You're only seeing like the top part of it. So, but anyways, um, think of the surface of the blade, essentially the widest part of that iceberg, and then it tapers back underneath. And and so as you grind through that, for people who aren't familiar, you're removing your hormone essentially. You're grinding your hormone away. And so as little grinding as you can possibly do, the better, right?
Yeah, yeah, and it's tricky too because if you get your pre-grind too thin, then you're gonna have warping problems and your edge will snake and it's a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
That I don't know how people get that crazy activity the way they
Dude,
do. I gotta figure that out.
well, I'll tell you what Trey does is he pushes every single one to the edge of exploding. And he just eats it. Some of them, like I think he said something like a 50% failure rate or something. I'm just like, bro, what the fuck? That seems like so much. But
Oh,
at the same time, he is working with thin material. I think I don't know if he's getting his stuff water jet or what, but by the time he's got clay on them, I think he doesn't have a ton of time in them. It obviously it costs, but also at the same time, the results he's getting with the ones that are successful are fucking insane. Sorry, excuse my language, but they're so good.
yeah. Yeah, they're nice, and I've had some high activity ones like that in the past too. They kind of come and go,
Yeah.
and um, water quenching definitely is the way to go if you want more activity.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay, so
I've
you do it.
I've uh, I've dabbled in that. I do one every once in a while, and I'll price it up a lot. I'll make them way more expensive because yeah, 50% failure rate for sure. And I've talked to Greg Sims about
Oh yeah, sure.
how to do it better, and um, what the recipe is you want to get it really salty, and you want to get it up to 150 degrees,
Okay.
just sitting at 150 degrees, and then I don't know if he wants to keep this on the down low or not, but he has success that way.
Yeah.
Sorry, Greg, if you didn't want to get that out, but it's yeah. So I've done that, and I had pretty good success, and I got some cool activity recently, and those sell really quick. When I
Daniel
say water,
O'Connor. Sorry.
Daniel O'Connor, yeah, I recognize that name.
Yeah, the nuclear system's pretty incredible.
Nuclear.
Nuclyer. Yeah, so it's like nuclear, but it's nuclear for people claying up their hormones. Sorry. Anyways, so so you use this. You've talked to Greg. Well, it's interesting because I think Trey is doing. I don't think he's doing the exact same thing, but he's also getting phenomenal. Not only really cool hormones, but it's his polishing process is what really makes those hormones pop, right? And
Oh
it's
yeah.
pretty wild.
Is he using lemon juice? Did he
I
mention
don't
that?
I don't think he is. He's oh god. He talks
Or
about it in the podcast. I can't
is it
remember exactly
ferric?
what I can't remember what he's doing. But
My guess is ferric and buffing.
he's taken up to a really high finish. He's doing something and then using some sort of polishing compound afterward. I cannot remember. I feel like an idiot for not remembering. It was a lot to talk about to take in, but I got to go back and actually listen to it myself.
Yeah, I'm
Um
gonna listen to it.
yeah, there's a lot of great information in there about his approach. But yeah. Um okay, sorry. So the swords you've been doing for a while, you love doing the hormones. How do you decide on what handle materials to do? Is it just like whatever it's tickling your fancy at the time, or you just randomly pull handles out of the box?
The latter. Yeah, I just have a huge stockpile of handle
Right.
material, and I'm like, okay, let me get one of this and that, and
Yeah, yeah.
diversify basically. Yeah.
I
Um,
gotcha.
recently, I've been just sending out blocks to K&G stabilizing because the I was doing cactus juice and the whole
Yeah.
rigmarole for a long time, and it's a
Right.
lot of time. It's a lot of time, and it's expensive too.
Yeah. The last time I sent a box to K&G, they're not a sponsor, but they do a phenomenal job. If you're gonna send wood anywhere, I mean, there's a few places that'll do it, but I've always had really good experiences and results with K&G. And I think I sent out a medium-sized flat rate box that had like, excuse me, like 40 or 50 handle blocks in it. And after the cost of stabilizing and shifting and shipping and everything averaged out to about $10 a block. And I was like, holy
Yeah,
crap.
yeah. Honey hole, honey
So if
hole.
yeah, so if you can find a good source for handle material and you can afford to pay for several blocks to be stabilized at a time, do it because
I'll give everybody a great source because I have my buddy that does these auctions on big slabs of maple burl,
oh
and they
yeah,
are cheap. And he needs more people buying his stuff because I mean, everybody knows him. It's Worldwide Burl on Instagram.
worldwide burl.
Yeah, yeah. He'll have a giant slab that I can
Yeah,
get like 30, 40 blocks out of, and it'll
dang,
cost me like $150.
that's great, dude.
That's
That's so crazy.
it's crazy. So everybody, this is the honey hole.
Wow. Okay, so when you break that down, so I'm sure it's already has to have already been seasoned to a certain point. but before he even slabs the stuff out, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
they're all seasoned, ready to go.
yeah, wow, that's impressive. Yeah, because the last time I sent wood out, it was wood that I sourced myself, but then broke it down into smaller and smaller pieces, like over 3 years, just to make sure I wasn't doing anything too fast, because I didn't have any like like temperature control or dehumidified room or anything like that to help with the seasoning process. And so I just let the ambient air kind of do its thing slowly over time as I slowly broke down the blocks before I finally sent them out. That sounds awesome though.
Yeah, I got like 3 slabs if you want to see one.
Let's see it.
All right, you can still hear me while I walk, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Oh, I got 2 slabs over here. All right, let's see. I think I just got this one. It was $150 and then plus shipping, so maybe 180, 185.
Ooh. Dude, and what's so cool, you can do such cool stuff with those edges too.
Yeah, and so I got a
Oh,
full
whoa,
tote.
that's thick. That's like 2 inches thick, isn't it?
It's 2 inches thick. So what you can do is you can do
Oh my
inch
god.
pieces.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I can get like 30, 40 blocks out of this.
Holy crap,
And
dude.
that's good burl.
Yeah. What is it? Maple?
Maple burl, yeah.
Yeah, beautiful.
And it stabilizes and dies really easily and really good.
Right. Oh man.
And it's
Right. Which is
dry.
why all those handles have so many great colors. Do you have were you doing the dyeing, or do you have K&G do dye lots?
Well, I used to do the dyeing. Now K&G does everything because
Yeah.
it's just too much time.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. So I'm just focusing more on making knives. Like, why am I focusing on making handle material when I could
Right.
focus on making more blades?
Yeah, and that's the trick about, like, especially thinking of this as a business and trying to operate as a business, is where unless it's something that only you can do or that you do the best, it doesn't make sense for you to be doing it. Your
Yeah,
time is better spent elsewhere. And that is a hard thing to
absolutely.
keep in mind. Like I spent my whole life um not poor, but just like we didn't have a lot of extra. So if we needed something or we wanted something to last, like if it broke, I fixed it. I just fixed it over and over again. And so whenever I'm like think I see something out in the world, I'm like, oh man, that would be really cool to have. And I'm like, I'll just build it. But now my time is not better spent building stuff, because I could build it and save myself some money, but the amount of time it takes to actually build it is very different. It's like, what could I have done with those last 12 to 16 hours that
Yeah,
in
yeah. That's
building
exactly
the
true. When you're on like a fixed income and you're first starting out knife making, you have to build a lot of things.
yeah. And I'm
But
thankful
once you
for that.
get,
I understand how a lot of my
yeah,
stuff works, but yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, you're absolutely right. And then once you get like the money inflowing, then you can spend your time on other things that are more important.
Right.
Yeah, and that's how you build up and build a business doing knife making, and then every once in a while I have to remind myself to be thankful for having this and not having a boss and
Oh yeah.
not having to commute, you know, and then come back home commuting
Sure.
and I had to. Okay, this just reminded me. I
Yeah.
was 60 pounds heavier when I worked at the factory.
Okay.
I lost a lot of weight after I quit because I got more sleep. I didn't have to get up at 4 in the morning, and I ate better.
Mm.
Um, I don't know what it is. My body just like required more sleep or something. I don't know, but I lost 60 pounds after I quit, and I feel so much more healthier. I was dying. I was having heart palpitations.
Oh,
I
crazy.
remember, I remember listening to you on Knife Talk in my clean room
Oh, really?
suit, and just like, oh man, Mareko's the man. I want to meet him one day. I want to talk to him one day. And then I remember, I like messaged you, and it was weird and awkward, and I felt really dumb for what I said to you back then. And I'm sure a lot of people feel the same way.
Dude, I don't even remember, so don't worry about it.
um,
I mean, I
Yeah,
could probably scroll back through the conversation, but we've talked about plenty since then.
yeah. No, I just, yeah. It's weird thinking back to those days where I was idolizing a lot of people, and you were one of them, and now I'm here,
Oh
and
wow.
I've just,
Yeah.
it's taken a lot of work to get here, but and it feels weird. I feel like an imposter almost.
Sure.
Um,
I know that feeling.
yeah, it, it's weird sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, I think the thing I've struggled with, I think because of my background, my upbringing, and and I guess some of the kind of like the lack of extra stuff and whatnot. Not that it's necessary, but I think I always felt a sense I felt it a lot. Oh, Jesus Christ. Sorry. I had my mocha pot explode in my face today, and it shot coffee grounds into my eye. Anyways, that's a different story. Anyways, I yeah, and I think one of the things my mom was a single mom. She had 3 young kids. She was young when by the time she had all 3 of us, she was 21. Um, and I grew up in a very conservative household, and if you weren't helping, you were a problem. And and so I think I always struggle, or I'm learning actually. I'm 41, or I'm going to be 41 in August. I'm finally learning that I still am holding on to some of these kind of core beliefs that aren't mine, that I need to hold on to anymore, about especially around what I deserve in my life, especially around like success and happiness. And I think people take difficult upbringings, and mine wasn't like necessarily super difficult in regards to, like, my mom was a great person. It was just like we just struggled a lot, and she struggled because she was a single mom, and there's just things that happen as a result of that. Um, but yeah, just realizing like that I don't there's some of that stuff around those things that I still carry that I don't need to be carrying. They're not helping me. I think part of that was, like I mentioned before, like perfectionism. Like, and I've come to realize, like, part of, especially when my mom got divorced, when I was young, it was doing my best to not be a burden, and always trying to seek approval from everybody, and that way I would feel accepted, and appreciated or valued in some way, um, that I was lacking in other places in my life. And I think some of that I still struggle with in regards to what you were saying in regards to imposter syndrome. Is like, do I actually deserve to be recognized for the work that I'm doing, or am I just tricking everybody? And I know that I'm doing good work and I'm helping people, um, and I'm not slanging snake oil or anything like that. But at the same time, I have a part, while I know that intellectually, knowing things intellectually versus believing them intrinsically as part of your core beliefs in yourself or about yourself are very different things. And I'm still working through that myself. So I'm right there with you.
Yeah, I feel like it comes in waves. I
Sure.
feel like you you have like these high highs and low
Yeah.
lows with this profession, and it's like you're chasing dopamine fixes,
Yeah.
in a way, you know, and
Right.
the dopamine fixes are making something cool and then getting admiration for it, but you're not really focused on the getting the admiration. At least I'm not. I'm just focused on paying the bills, you
Yeah.
know,
That's good.
and and that's my main focus is just the money at this point because that's where I'm at in my life.
Yeah.
Um, I want to be able to work to the point where I can just make something crazy cool and then
Sure.
just have people go bonkers over it. Um, like, and then I want to become a master bladesmith as well. Um, I just haven't done the whole thing, but yeah, it goes up and down. So I'll have like a batch, I'll put it out, and then it won't get like a huge response, and I'll be like, oh,
Sure.
and then
You've
it'll
got
sit.
punch.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and then I'll make some random custom knife that I would have never thought of making myself, and then everybody goes, "Holy shit, that's awesome!"
yeah,
And then I feel good for a while, and
sure.
it's just the cycle, and everything in between that. Um, but you just got to show up no matter what.
Yeah,
I'd have to show up in the shop basically 6 days a week
yeah,
to keep it going, and yeah, it's not an easy road. I'm no Neil Kamamura, where I live in Hawaii and all the backdrops look really cool, and I can make some fancy food and have a camera guy and be a sexy motherfucker. And,
I mean, he's got all that going on, but he, out of all the makers I've met in the last
he's
15
so
years,
cool.
he's one of the hardest working people. He actually, I, I can't. I struggle to think of somebody that I know that works harder than he does. He is busting his ass off
And
making
he's got
those knives.
many businesses too, right?
Yeah, and he's got,
Yeah.
multiple businesses. He's had businesses his whole life. It's funny because people just see like what he's been doing now or over the last, whatever, 5 or 6 years, and they're like, "Oh, it must be nice." And it's like he owned one of two septic and grease trap pumping businesses on the Big Island of Hawaii. He spent over a decade swimming through sewage and cleaning out grease traps. If you've ever been in a restaurant and ever experienced a grease trap, it's just as
Yeah.
bad as a septic tank. And after that much time of doing that, you deserve whatever the fuck you get.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, dude, it's gnarly. He tells me all kinds of crazy stories. I'm like, nah, I'm good anymore. I'm just like, I get it. It was fucking gross for a long time. uh, but even before that,
That's
he was an
cool.
electrician. Before that, he was a builder. Like he's been a laborer his entire life, and he's
He deserves what he has.
yeah, I absolutely believe he does. And it's not
I
like he's not content sitting around. He doesn't really sit around. He's working 12-hour days, day in and day out. And then training on top of that. So cuz he's got like a 4-year-old kid, 3-year-old kid, and so he's like, I got to keep up with this kid. And he's in his mid 40s now, and he's doing jujitsu and kickboxing shit like that. It's
That's
wild.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was looking to get my kiddo into jujitsu this summer.
Sure. I think that'd be
Yeah.
great. Grappling is freaking awesome, especially for young girls. I feel
Yeah.
like,
Good
unfortunately,
foundation.
yeah. Well, and it's also like it's a
The
gnarly
world.
world out there, and bad things happen to women all the fucking time,
Hmm.
every fucking minute. And but if you have experience with jujitsu and grappling, wherever situation you find yourself in, you can do something about it.
It's a little bit better to have.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Calmer too. Feel calmer and more easy about going places
Oh
because
yeah,
you can handle things.
right. Oh yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's what were we talking about before we was talking about Neil?
Ups and downs
Yeah,
of the
ups and
knife
downs
business.
all around. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's tricky. And okay, so when you do these batches, are these they're coming from your own just like desire of a style of a thing that you want to do, and then are you? I mean, you must have. I mean, I feel like or maybe you don't, but you must have some idea of whether or not they'll sell. I mean, a 10-piece batch, while it is an investment of time, it's not that many. It's not a ton of knives. It's not like 1,000 knives, and then crossing your fingers and hoping those sell. But at the same time, like you were just describing, like sometimes you'll put up a set and then they sit and it feels like a gut punch. But like, what is your planning process when you are developing these batches? Because I've seen you do these
Hmm.
batches. It's impressive to see, and I've seen it in your shop when I was there working with you and teaching. Um, and then, yeah, nothing short of inspiring to
Yeah.
me.
What it is, it's basically what I feel like doing.
Sure.
If it's not something that I'm interested in, then I ain't do it.
Yeah.
And well, that's most of it, I would say.
Sure.
If I'm interested in making a lot of money, then I'll do a big pairing batch or a big thin forge Giotto batch, or
I got you.
these batches where I can make them really fast. They're
Yeah.
quality knives, and they sell for around $350.
Sure.
And I can blast through 10 to 15 of them in a week or two, depending on what they are.
Yeah.
And if I do that twice, then I'm making decent money,
Yeah.
and I'm good to go for a while. And then I can the next week focus on making some Damascus for a week, and making an integral knife,
Sure.
um, and then go from there. I basically It's usually thinking about it when I'm in the shower or I'm going to sleep at night. I'm just like,
Okay.
okay, well, what's next? Like what
Yeah.
am I interested in? What is the next thing that I'm going to come up with? And the big thing that has sold a lot for me is this Thin Forge series, where I get
Okay.
water jet cut 1/16 inch thick cutouts, and
Yeah.
I just had to put a small 1 inch bevel on it, which isn't that much grinding at
Sure.
1/16. They cut great. I have one in my kitchen. We use it all the time.
Right.
And
Did I
they
see
sell
one of
for,
those when I was there?
yeah, I asked you specifically about what you thought about it, and you didn't say anything bad, so that's good.
No, I thought they
Uh,
were rad.
yeah, and it's like no hand sanding on the blade. It's
Yeah.
felt finish, and it's a forged finish, so it's black, which is desirable because it looks cool.
Yeah.
It's carbon steel, so it has a great edge. And yeah, I can make it fast. And my handles, we can get into my handles now if you want to.
Mm. Well,
My
just before we get into the handles, I just want to
Yeah.
say I was absolutely shocked when I saw your handle work in person. Because I had seen your work online, but I didn't know by looking online what I was looking at. And when I saw them in person, I was stunned. And actually, I want to show a picture of one of your recent. Oh, geez, this collab. I think it's the Chinese cleaver. I'm going to share this real quick. The finish on this thing, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like this is part of your finishing process, but it's just so glass. Like I don't get it. It's so crazy to me.
Yeah,
It's insane.
that piece is so nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just like mesmerized looking at it again.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, so that's some
It
Baker
looks like
Forge.
polished gems is what it looks like. It's wild.
It's in Boynia Burl,
Yeah.
from Greenberg Woods,
Okay.
and Copper My ladder pattern from Baker Forge.
I got you.
But yeah, that Saya is just absolutely insane. It has three different tones of color to it. It's got like this blonde, this dark orangish red, and then
Right.
there's white and black. It's super nice.
Yeah. Okay. So tell us. So you talked about the blade. Let's hear about those handles.
Yeah, so I'll start off by saying that my faceted handles are quicker and easier to make than like rounded handles,
Sure.
if that makes sense.
Yep.
Because I can just throw it on the disc grinder real quick, and I can throw it to 80 grit and then go straight to 600 grit,
Sure.
and then bam, you're there. So I like to take everything to 600 grit. If it's full tang, I'll hand sand the tang, make it nice 600 grit, straight
Okay.
strokes and refined and pretty. And
Yep.
then I have this super glue finish, the dreaded super glue finish that it's something I've developed over a long period of time. I started with tung oil, teak oil, Danish oil, true oil, and
Yep.
then I graduated to super glue. And the super glue I use is, I have it right here, Starbond Thin.
Okay.
Now, what I do is take the handle to 600 grit, as I already said, and then I will take a paper towel and I'll fold it into this bit, I'll go in this little corner right here and just saturate it really
Okay.
thick with super glue, and then I'll rub it on the handle, or yeah, I'll rub it on the wood and have a nice, medium coat, and then I'll
Sure.
let it sit on the sideline. And what you'll notice is that it'll slowly dry, but you'll notice it seep into the wood and kind of like make this matte finish.
Yeah.
And if it stays glossy, then you know it's not really like soaking in that much.
Okay.
And you can do after it's dry, it's like I let it sit for an hour. I'll take it back to a worn 600 grit on my disc grinder, and I'll hit those facets, or I'll take sandpaper to curvy areas and just take the top layer off. I'm not digging below that soaked in CA glue layer. I'm just taking the very top layer off.
So you're getting through like essentially the excess glue on the surface of the wood,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah,
But you're not really trying to get below the surface of the wood at all.
yeah. And then if it's soaked in and it's like matte, I'll hit it again. I'll do a second run, and this goes quick. Those
Yeah.
facets, I mean, I'm only touching it on there for 10 seconds max per facet,
Sure.
and then maybe I'll go back and I'll cut it again. Some woods are they don't like CA glue for whatever reason, like
Sure.
myrtle and redwood and buckeye burl.
Oh,
They do
interesting.
not like super glue that well. Like buckeye burl, it'll absorb some, but if you go to buff it afterwards, the buffing compound will impregnate the wood, and you get
Oh,
these
interesting.
blotches.
Yeah.
So what I just recently found out, and this is from doing etching with handles on,
Yeah.
you coat it with the clear fingernail polish, right?
Yeah.
I noticed that when I did that, these special woods that wouldn't like the CA glue, they would like this instead.
Okay.
So those woods that don't like CA glue, like redwood and myrtle and buckeye burl, I'll just coat the handle with the clear fingernail polish,
Okay.
and let that dry, and then I'll acetone the top layer off, and then I can buff it straight from there, and it won't pick up the compound. Magic. It's like
That's cool.
magic. Yeah. So that's basically it. I just buff. I use purple compound from
Yeah.
Combat Abrasives,
Right.
uh,
Wow.
and you
And then
just gotta.
for the CA glue ones, you just if as long as it's absorbing, you add coats, and then at a certain point, it's not taking it on anymore, and then you buff it from there.
I'll do the burnishing off of the top layer of super glue again, and
Yeah.
then I'll buff it from there. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what you did with like that Amboina Burrow one.
Yeah. The whole saya and
That's
all that.
amazing because it's
Yeah.
such a glassed out finish. It's so crazy.
And with yeah, and the heavy poured stuff like walnut and lots of woods have big pores.
Yeah.
What you can do is just keep doing multiple coats, and eventually those pores will fill in,
Yeah.
and it'll just become like glass. Usually takes like 3 coats for like a big pour kind of
Okay. Yeah.
thing. But if you sand below it, then you're screwed. So
Sure.
it's kind of like it's a little finicky, but if you do it right, it's nice.
I have a piece of burl right now that I'm working on that has some weird voids and porosity, and yeah, I might have to look into doing that because right now I'm not very excited to
Mm.
to get in there and finish that out because um,
Voids. Yeah,
yeah, well,
voids
it's
are a
just
different thing.
well, and it's just like I guess not voids, but just like the wood, even though it's stabilized. So it's called. It was sold to me as ebony burl. Whether it's actually an ebony wood or not, I'm not sure because it's actually like a blonde and purple, kind of like a pale purple. It's I don't know. It's kind
Hmm.
of it's pretty, but it's like I don't know what the wood actually is. But all the blocks that the guy had on his table that looked like that were called ebony burl. Um, but there's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
this
yeah.
there's like this
I've had that before.
brittleness. There's like this brittleness to the material, and if there's like weird like little chunks fall out of it, and I'm just like, shit, what the fuck? And
Yeah,
so
yeah.
and I don't
I,
know what that is, and I'm just like, and I've been trying to figure out what I might try to do, but maybe using that nail polish trick might be the way to do. Are you using nail polish or nail hardener?
Let me see. Clear nail protector.
Okay, so it's like a top coat.
Yeah. Top coat. Yeah, that ebony that you talked about, I got 2 scales of that from Greenberg Woods, and yeah, it was a little bit weird,
Yeah,
brittle. I made
yeah,
a pair of knives out of that. Yeah,
cool.
it is ebony.
Yeah, it is heavy. Yeah, well, and actually, now that I think about it, I've had that experience with both ebony and black and white ebony as well, where it kind of like I don't know. It's like almost like it gets too hot, and then like there's like this weird layer that wants to kind of like flake off almost in a way. I don't know. It's
Oh,
not awesome.
yeah. I would try super glue on that one instead of the nail
Yeah.
polish. Because it seems like the oily woods, the super glue likes to combine with that oil and like seal
Okay.
it
Yeah.
for whatever reason. For
Interesting.
yeah, yeah.
Do you ever play with combining the super glue and the nail polish, or is that kind of redundant, especially once the or once the super glue is like in there?
I think for Buckeye Burl, combining it might be a move.
Yeah.
Redwood doesn't take super glue at all.
Yeah.
Myrtle, probably both, but it's kind of, I don't really mess with Myrtle too often. It's a
Sure.
weird one. Like Myrtle is one that you can't send to the stabilizer because it just does not pick up stabilizing
Oh,
stuff.
interesting.
Yeah,
They're
it's
just like,
like,
we're not even gonna try.
yeah, and I sent it in and they're like, yeah, we don't know why it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. Because it's kind of like maple. It looks and feels and like maple, but
Oh,
it
interesting.
just doesn't work.
Yeah. Ah, that's interesting. Cool. We'll have to experiment with that now. Do you use any kind of like a ultraviolet light to cure the top coat or the glue, super glue? Have you played with any of that?
No, I've heard that they have those ultraviolet ones. The thing is with the super glue finish is that you want it to like slow cure so that it can have time to soak in.
Right.
Because I have the accelerator, and if I just do a coat and then hit the accelerator on there, then it's just like it's frozen right there at the surface.
Oh yeah, I got you.
So I just wanted to like take time to soak in. And Starbond has a super thin version, which is like thin as acetone. But what I
Okay.
noticed is that even though it's thinner and it might soak in more, it actually dries faster. So it doesn't
Oh,
have
interesting.
time enough to soak in. So with my experimentation, this thin works the best. The regular
Yeah.
thin.
It's a freaking great finish, and I think I was saying it before we actually started the podcast, but it's the best glossed out handle finish I've ever seen.
Oh,
It's
thank you.
is super impressive, and especially the nail polish approach. I've never thought of that, but it makes sense. I mean, people use acrylic nail polish, or not acrylic. They use nail polish on top of nails and acrylics and stuff like that, and it's super hardy. It
Yeah.
would make sense that it works well as a finishing coat, a top coat for something like wood, or I
Yeah,
guess some woods.
my customers love my handles. And one of the most things I hear from them is your pictures don't do it justice. Like
Mm,
this is crazy in hand in person.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I've
and
been. Go
sorry, go
ahead.
ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay.
You got.
It's just like they looked like if anybody's ever been to like honestly like uh what is it the oh my god, I can't even think right now, like national parks or something like that, and the gift stores always have like polished stones or polished rocks and stuff like that. Like the finish on them look like those glassed out polished rocks. Like it's wild.
Right.
It's so high. It's such a high polish. It's nuts.
I can
And I
grab
haven't
one right
played.
now.
Yeah, I haven't played with those that purple buffing polishing compound either.
Yeah, that's the one. That one's the best. That was actually recommended to me by Rob's Wildwood.
Oh yeah. Sorry. I thought you said you were gonna grab some.
Oh, yeah, I'll go
Yeah,
get it.
but okay.
Yeah, so
Or
this one.
it sounded like you had one in your hand you were about ready to put on the screen, so I was blowing you up.
Oh, gotcha. No, yeah, here we go. All right, so this one I spent the whole day doing the extra carve inlays in here, or whatever you call that.
Oh. See, and that's the thing that's so crazy because that I did see you post that. To get that high of a finish, fuck, dude, that's nuts. To get
Yeah,
that
see
high of
if
a finish on a complex contoured handle is insanity. How
that.
much time do you feel like you have in that?
So just doing this right here
Yeah,
with file work and then super glue coating it and then sanding it back and then super glue coating it and sanding it
yeah,
back. It's probably a full 10 hours.
sure. Yeah,
And
I
and
believe.
then the buff. And this stuff was, even though it's stabilized, it was pretty punky.
Oh, really?
It's pretty spalted, especially
Yeah,
back here.
right.
And you can kind of see the spalting in it, but yeah,
Dude,
it's
that is
sealed.
so crazy, especially when you do the side of the handle facing out the door. Um, you can really see how glossed out it is. It's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, so
That's
this
nuts.
one's still for sale.
Right.
It's, I mean, that is one hell of a slicer if you're gonna get a
Oh yeah, it is.
slicer.
You gotta find somebody who's into fish, who does a lot of fish work, because I feel like that handle makes me think of fish.
Yeah, it's definitely got some curve to it.
Yeah,
And
no,
then
it's great.
this is something that this pattern is like an imascus. We kind of tried me and my apprentice. We were
Yeah,
doing a lot of imascus to get like these eyeballs in the
right.
pattern, and it takes three different billets to do this pattern because you have the individual eyeballs,
Yep.
and then you have another eyeball right there, and then you have triangles. So I actually made this triangle billet
Yeah.
that was then made into a giant square that was forge welded together,
Oh
and
wow.
then it was tiled out.
Damn, that is tricky.
Yeah, it's quite a lot of work. In fact, the knife that sold for the most money that I ever sold was another Imascus knife.
I'm asking.
Yeah, it's my own coined term for my pattern. Eyeball mascus. Imascus.
I want to share this rod. It's freaking beautiful. How many
Oh
hours
yeah,
do you think you have in that thing overall?
the wrought iron or
Yeah,
this one? Okay, so I can grab the wrought iron. Let's see.
I was gonna do a
Yeah,
screen
so
share if you got it there. Let's see
yeah,
it.
you can do both. We can do both. Okay, so this has wrought iron layers in it.
Yeah.
You can see it right there, and then it has regular Damascus layers in it. And the reason I decided to do this was because doing wrought iron sandmai is a pain in the ass because it likes to warp every which way.
Oh, interesting.
And for whatever reason, wrought iron, when you use a brand new belt, it likes to take the sharp points off. I don't know. It's like Play-Doh, and it just pulls them. It just yanks
Really?
them off. And
Off
so
of the
it takes,
belt.
yeah, it just takes really long and a lot of belts to grind wrought iron for whatever reason.
Interesting.
It's just like muddy. It just like doesn't want to grind very well. And then when it grinds, everything moves. So I
Oh
was
god.
like, okay, how do I stop this movement? Oh, I'll add in some hardenable steel.
Hmm.
Oh, I'll make wrought iron Damascus.
Right.
And so this is more stable. So when I grind it, it doesn't warp as much, and
Yeah.
it's a great idea. I mean, shit, it's mosaic wrought iron Damascus with the nickel
It's
layer on this one.
yeah. It's so interesting because I don't know why I never saw this before, but the black almost looks like oh yeah. looks like the silhouette of like a cityscape or like a village, and then the pattern looks like it's like the skyline beyond, like there's a sunset the past that village cityscape.
Oh wow, I didn't even think about it that way. Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
Now I like it even more.
No, but it's a really interesting. I've never seen anybody incorporate wrought iron into mosaic Damascus.
Yeah, I plan to do more. And the wrought iron isn't just plain wrought iron either. I took a big billet of wrought iron and forge welded it together
Oh,
and
really?
drew it out. Yeah, I'd refine the iron down because it can be kind of a mess, and
Right.
I didn't want to have a mess. So I
Sure.
refined the wrought iron before I used it.
Oh, cool. Oh, that's interesting.
But you can
Yeah.
still, I don't know if, here, pull up the picture. You can get better detail.
Okay. I'm gonna do a screen share. Let's see.
Yeah, if you zoom in the wrought iron, you can still see the like impurities in it,
Let's see.
the
Oh,
aesthetic look of it.
this is the one you just had. Oh,
And there's
yeah.
a
I
picture
can
of
see that.
3 of them that you
Oh,
could
yeah, yeah.
probably zoom in and do.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so it looks like it's wrought iron 1084 or 1080 something
Yeah,
and
1084.
1520 and then wrought iron. So you alternated the color that the wrought iron sandwiched between. That's cool.
It's a simple S pattern mosaic. I didn't want to go too crazy the first time trying it out, just as an
Sure.
experiment.
I mean, it looks like it stuck together really well.
Yeah, it did.
That's great.
I didn't have much issue. I just knew that, like with wrought iron, you got to keep the heat up a little bit more.
Yeah,
You can't forge on it hard when it's cold.
right. What kind of forge do you have? You built your forge, right?
No, I got an NC tool, NC Forge
Oh,
tool.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's the Farrier Forge with the door,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
then the only problem with those is that the hole in the front of it's too small. So what I ended up doing is ripping it out,
Okay.
and now it's like a big 4x4 inch hole, and the thing rips. It's a dual burner. It's I think it's called the Whisper Mama or something like that.
Okay.
But it doesn't burn too much fuel, and yeah, it gets up to weld temp under like 12 psi.
Right. Yeah. Cool.
And then I have a 12-ton coal iron forge press, and then my arm.
And your arm.
Yeah.
Do you ever feel like your arm's about to fall off?
No, because that's what the forge press is for. I
Yeah,
mean,
true.
if it's been a while and I haven't forged, like I'll get a big blister on my hand, but
I got you.
that's about it.
Let's see, I think it was last month. We talked about patinas in the Patreon Q&A. And you've done a lot of patinas, and I actually want to pull up this post of this knife that you did. And I just want to get your take on patinas and developing like a good patina, and what kind of, like, if there's a special mustard that you use or anything like that, or because and I'm pretty sure like the lighter areas is where the mustard was the thickest, right? Is that usually how that works?
Yeah, yeah,
And then the darker
definitely.
areas is where it's thin. But how do you get like that? Because it's actually quite large gray areas. Do you have like a mustard wash or? Well, now it's the
So
same.
it's kind of it depends on what you're using to apply the mustard, and I just use
Oh, interesting. Yeah,
regular Frank's mustard,
sure.
just the regular stuff. So you can use a sponge, you can use aluminum foil balled up into a ball, and then you smash it on a flat surface.
That's such a interesting
Um,
idea. I never even thought of
I
that.
Yeah, you can use a paper towel wadded up. Basically anything that has like this kind of like spongy consistency.
Oh
And
yeah,
then
that totally makes sense. That looks so good.
yeah, glad you like it. Yeah. So you want to like so all the white areas in there, those
Yeah.
are the thickest areas. So what you want to basically do is have a concentrated enough solution, but also a unconcentrated enough dabbing on it. So you want to be able to see the steel through the mustard for the most part, and then anywhere that you can't see the steel through the mustard will basically remain white.
Right.
And I've also done this where I've done ferric on the blade and darkened the blade first, and then done a
Sure.
mustard patina,
Okay.
and that does a really cool thing as
Oh,
well.
interesting. Really?
I haven't done those in a while. If you go way back in my feed, you probably find them. But
Okay.
yeah, yeah, those it's like a really dark mustard patina finish. The only thing about that is that at first when you cut things, like you'll have black come off on your food,
Oh, I got
which
you.
isn't gonna hurt you, but um, yeah, people are like, "What is this? Why is it doing
Sure.
this?"
Yeah.
It's not like a coffee finish where it doesn't come off.
Yeah. Interesting.
I wonder if you could do a coffee finish and then do it. That might be the way to go for the black.
Well, if you do too much coffee, it'll just be blacked out. But if you limit the coffee, it starts out gray before it goes black. So yeah, you could have some sort of combination of potentially of the coffee and the yeah, and the mustard patina. That's really interesting. It's funny. I've heard so many people poo poo on the mustard patina. I've always liked it, but I think the reason people kind of poo poo on it is because oh whoops, oh geez, that's not you.
That looks like Ben come on.
It is Ben Kamals. Uh, is because at least for some reason they think that a maker is trying to pretend like the steel is Damascus when it's not. And I'm like, I don't know who's saying that, but
I haven't gotten that.
that's I've never thought that
Yeah,
myself
I haven't
either.
gotten that before.
And it always seemed
I've
like
had people jump in my comments when I call things Damascus, like, no, that's not Damascus, it's pattern welded steel. And then I always like to comment back, everything's gonna be okay, I promise.
that's good. I like that.
Yeah.
But this is actually another really great example of either the super glue or the nail polish. You could tell us, but the finish on that handle is nuts.
Yeah, that's maple burl. Maple burl and super glue go hand in hand.
Mm-hmm.
No matter if it's stabilized by KNG or not, it still needs super glue, in my opinion.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's another
and
great
then
patina.
and if you have voids, like voids are always in burl, and you
Yeah.
can't get away from it. And most people know this already, but if you don't, you can take some sawdust from whatever you're grinding and just throw it in your void, your
Yeah.
little voids, and throw super glue on top of that. Then let it dry slowly. This is the key.
Yeah.
Don't use an accelerator. Accelerator will make even smaller bubbles or even harder to take care of.
Yeah.
Let it sit in there, and then you'll see bubbles rise to the top, and you can take the tip of your super glue nozzle and you can like scoot them out of the way,
Oh,
and then
interesting.
they're out. And some voids will soak in even more, and you have to add more. But let it dry naturally.
Right.
Don't use accelerator.
Yeah.
That's how you take care of those.
Yeah. I've had handles in the past where a void showed up. I always keep the cutoffs just in case, as I'm sculpting a handle, something opens up that I don't expect to find. And I actually have like the little 2-ounce ramekins that you get like a side of whatever hot sauce or salsa or ranch or whatever at the restaurant or like in a taco box. I take those. I got some of those from the local restaurant store, and so I'll jam the block of wood into the grinder, and then I'll collect the dust underneath, and I'll just have a collection of it that I can. And I have little coffee stirs, and I'll spoon it onto a void if one opens up, and I
Yeah.
do that. But I think I'm out of thin glue. I need to get some new thin glue. So I think I'm going to be looking at this. You said it's the Starbond Thin?
Yeah, yeah, the green
Yeah,
bottle.
green bottle.
I like to get the bulk one where it's a big bottle and you can decant it into smaller
Sure.
ones.
I got one of those. Actually, I think the first time I bought super glue, I was like, this is a great deal. I'm going to use this forever. And then I didn't realize that glue has a shelf life. And I got like 2/3 or halfway through, and it just like gelatinized. I
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I was not using it fast enough. And then I started feeling frustrated, even though the bottle, I think at the time was like maybe 50 or $60. I was just like,
It was quick,
I was in,
and
yeah.
I've had many bottles. Just okay. Now you gotta be mad at JB. JB's calling me.
Oh, JB. He told me he wasn't going to be able to catch the call to the thing. And now he's in here trying to disrupt the phone conversation or our
I know.
conversation.
Yeah, he has a Japanese class. He's probably
Yeah.
doing this on purpose. I'm guessing.
That jerk. JB. I'm going to message him right now.
Oh, we're still good. We're still good.
We are.
Holy shit.
Interesting. Okay. Well, I got a couple questions actually on the Patreon, also from JB. So JB is a good buddy of yours.
Yeah, he
Um,
lives 10 minutes away.
yeah. He and he was actually the one who initiated the class that I came down and taught, I believe. Um,
Yep.
and he's got a couple questions here for you. He says, first off, he says, I've been a huge fan of Justin's for years now. I have seen that he has been doing some collaborations with a couple of other bladesmiths. Their names escape me at the moment. Definitely not as well known as Justin, but they look like solid makers and pretty cool guys. I'd like to hear about those collaborations a bit. Is it a rewarding process for Justin, or are they just dead weight? Wink wink.
So he's talking
So
about
I'm guessing.
himself.
Oh yeah, okay.
He's talking about
Is that him
himself
and Rick?
and Rick from DI Knives. Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Rick
So
Allen.
I don't. I'm probably the closest best maker to me is Nanda Knives.
Okay, yeah,
He's in Oakland, which is about an hour from here.
sure.
Other than that, it's me and Kelly Vermeer
Oh,
is
really?
about 2 hours away, 2.5 hours away. So here where I'm at, we got JB. He's a professional knife sharpener, and he also does make knives as well. He's got a Jasonite and Hoffman 50-ton press, the big blue,
Oh, yeah,
and he's got a little giant 25-pound little giant. So I like to go over there and make big builds at Damascus with both of them,
yeah,
and then we go over to Rick's. He
yeah.
has a Anyang, which
He's got
we
the
have a.
165, right?
I don't remember.
Or is it
It's not
or
giant.
88?
It's kind of like medium
Mm-hmm.
sized, and we have like a famous picture if you can find on our Instagram, on my Instagram or our Instagram about us putting our hands on it when we did
Oh,
the
yeah,
class. I want to
right.
get that framed. That was a great photo. Um, but yeah, we'll go over to Rick's after we make the Damascus, and we'll forge out the integrals on the power hammer. And are they dead weight? No, because I learned things too. But I do save the day. I remember, so my apprentice Nate, he took a class with Salem Straub recently, a couple
Okay,
months ago,
yeah.
and he picked up a technique on how to forge weld crevices or wheel weird things that kind of like split apart.
Okay,
And
yeah.
if you have like a split on like a flat piece and the split is like across the top,
Okay.
you can actually like put it together by forge welding a temp right here on top of where that split is. You just kind of massage it over
Okay.
uh, with like light tap sideways at forge temp. And so I saved JB's knife doing that after I heard that tip from Nate after he took that class.
Yeah.
And so I learned a technique that way by helping him out. Um, yeah, no, it's great. It's great collaborating with them, and we all what we do is we all bring a piece of Damascus with a pattern. It's like a preliminary pattern, and then we
Okay.
combine them together and mosaic them, and then we'll split up the material to the three of us, and then forge it out into integrals. Each of us have an integral, and then
Nice.
make them, finish them, and sell them.
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah, no, it's great. I like
No,
it.
it I I have some makers near me, but I don't get a lot of time hanging out with them.
Yeah, that picture is the best. Anybody who's listening and not watching, I wish you could see this. It's JB, it's Rick, it's me, it's you, and it's Nate, my apprentice, on the bottom. And we all got our hands in the power hammer on the top of the power hammer die,
Yeah.
like we're doing a go team go, and we're looking at the camera like, yeah, it's great. I want to get that framed.
Classic. Dude, I probably am about 40 pounds lighter now than I was in that picture. It's so crazy to see that picture.
Yeah, you look like you look really good right now. You look really
Dang.
good back then, though, too. You know, I didn't have any complaints.
I'll take it. I'll take it. Oh, it's interesting to look at old pictures or old pictures. That was only a year ago. Oh
Yeah, that was
man.
last April.
Yeah. Oh shoot. Actually, you know what? All right. So while I was digging for this, I found another. I just want to hammer home like especially for the people who are watching this. And if you're not watching, go pull it up online because and also go to Justin's page because the handle finish, there was one that's red that just like I think the lighting on it is perfect for really showing how there it is. Oh, jeez. How I mean, obviously the one you just showed that you have in the shop is great, but damn this handle.
Oh yeah,
Dude,
that
that
was a
came out. It's
that
so
was a
good.
piece
Go ahead.
of Vel or Viet. It's Viet Rosewood. It's
Okay.
Viet Rosewood from Greenberg. Yeah, that was a special piece. He said that it was unlike anything he'd ever seen. And when I saw that, I'm like, it's mine. And I
Yeah.
got it and I held on to it for a while. But yeah, you can't find wood like that anywhere.
Oh, even the handle on this one too.
Yeah, that's a maple burl. Good old, my good old faceted handle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's such a great finish. It's freaking crazy, man. Whoa. Like I could just spend all my time like cruising through your your Instagram just to look at the handles.
Oh yeah, that's a nice piece of cola.
Dude, it's so glassy. It's nuts. It's so crazy.
That's a Rob's Wildwood special right there. I think I got
Yeah.
that at Blade.
Okay. Yeah, I met him this year.
Me and
And
Rob go way back. We both started on Instagram at the same time, and I used to
okay.
buy everything from him, and we have a really good relationship.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, that's a water quenched Honyaki.
Oh, crazy. Oh, I
Yeah,
see. So that's just an auto hamon. Did you have clay on there, or is it just what it did naturally?
I had clay on there, but I did an interrupted quench, so
Okay.
the Hamon line stopped early because I
Right.
got gun shy.
I got you. I got you.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, man. Crazy. I'm trying to let me go through here and just double check. I want to make sure I don't miss any questions because I have accidentally done that in the past. But it looks like we're good to go. You said you might have a couple questions for me. Is it like what's my favorite color?
Yeah, what's your favorite food? No.
Pizza.
Yeah, you've been making pizzas.
Yeah, I mean, I
What's
made
your take on pineapple and no pineapple?
I love pineapple on pizza. I actually
Yeah.
just did some I made some cherry compote from Rainier cherries um that had grown on a friend's property and yeah, it's super good. And I put it on a barbecue. So I mixed it with Sweet Baby Ray's and made that the base of a barbecue pulled pork pizza with a sauteed onion and garlic kind of dip thing that my friend calls crack dip because like once you start dipping, you like it's hard to stop. It's so damn good. And then it's got the pulled pork on there, and then I finished it with goat cheese. Um,
Oh,
I'm totally fine. It was a
oh.
garlic chive or garlic herb and chive or whatever goat cheese. Yeah, pretty good.
We love cheese here. I'm one to go to the store and buy fancy cheese and just slice it up and eat it with some pepperoni or salami.
With your pinky out. Mm.
Yeah, yeah, with a bottle of wine. Do you garden at all? Do you do any
Do I
gardening?
I do not have a green thumb. No, and I think more than anything is I just haven't really tried it or spent much time or any time doing it. So that's that's
Yeah.
where I'm at. Although I would love to have a garden someday, both a flower garden and a vegetable garden, but
Do you have
that's not
space
where I'm
for it?
I do not. Someday I hope to have space for it though. I'll just keep hoping and
Oh,
dreaming till I can grow up and
are you
be a
are
big
you in
boy.
a house or like an apartment or
I rent a house. Yeah. I should get garden beds though. Like just raised garden beds. You can kind of just move them around wherever you want. Or at least the ones that I have in mind. Or like the horse trough style.
yeah, earth blocks. You can
Earth
get an earth
blocks.
box.
Earth blocks.
Yeah, those are great. That's a special type of way to do it. And they're not that expensive of pots, and they're cool because they separate the layer of water. The water sits below in like this trough, and then the
Oh,
roots kind of
interesting.
like grow down into the water, but the soil
Oh,
sits above it.
yeah.
And then watering it's really easy because you just water into a pipe that goes down to the trough.
Oh, interesting. Right. I forgot you had a garden at your place.
Yeah. I'm growing tomatoes, and I'm doing like these really cool sunflowers that are like reddish purple. And then I have a hobby where I grow cannabis.
Nice.
I've been doing it for a while. I do some breeding. Um, I enjoy it. I enjoy it a lot, and it's really good on like the down days where you just get out in the sun and you like
Oh, sure.
just just pamper your the things you take care of, and then you get like this reward feeling
Yeah.
back. It's and then I like to play like certain music when I'm out there, and it's really peaceful.
Nice. What kind of music is it?
My favorite when I'm in the garden is Tame Impala.
I don't even know what that means.
You haven't listened to Tame Impala?
No.
Oh
Sounds
man,
all right. So I'll send you the kid podcast, and you're gonna send me some Tame Impala, whatever that means. What kind of
it's
music is
indie.
it?
It's indie music, not like
Okay,
Indian music, but indie.
indie.
Yeah,
I got you.
yeah.
Nice.
I have a whole indie playlist I could send you too. It's
Oh
like
yeah.
we call it our home playlist because
Oh yeah, dude. Please do. I'm always looking for new music. I love music, but I'm terrible about finding or discovering new music and listening to it. Uh, since I've had Spotify, that's the only reason I've discovered any new artists is because I'll find a song I know and I like and I'll play that, and then it'll kind of like you can create a whole radio station based off of that one song. And
yeah,
like I just created a playlist off I can't even remember the guy's name, but or a radio station, but the song is called Arkansas Diamond. I think his name's Wyatt something. Waylon Wyatt. That's a really good one. It's like the new country, not new country, but like Tyler Childers, Sturgill Simpson, Colton
Yeah,
Wall kind of sound. Uh, yeah, so that kind of new singer songwriter country style music.
you like Red Clay Strays?
Yes, dude,
Yeah,
that guy's voice is wild. It's such a good
yeah.
voice.
And when you see what he looks like, it's like, how?
It's awesome. Well, and they
He looks
have
like,
this look like they're from the 50s, like the freaking
yeah,
like cowboy shirts or whatever. I don't even know what those kind of shirts are called, but he's dressed up like he belongs in Bonanza or something like that.
or like the movie Pearl Harbor or something like that. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
super good.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So there's one technical question that I
Okay, yeah.
have for you.
Great.
Um, coffee,
Yes.
coffee.
Yes.
Is it always best to have the coffee be cold?
No. Or at least for a while it was. At least for consistency in etch. And I credit Gabe Fletcher actually for experimenting with hot coffee again because I had like completely written off hot coffee. Um, but he has started using hot coffee again. And at certain temperatures, and he gets like, I mean, you see his
Yeah,
posts, his finishes are fucking
best
awesome.
Damascus.
Best Damascus Blade Show Atlanta 2025.
Fucking hell, man, that pattern is sexy.
Yeah, it's super good. Great pattern, incredible finish. There were so many people coming up and looking at his knives, just being like, how? Like, I don't get it. How?
Me and JB were trying to dissect how that pattern worked.
Oh, yeah.
Couldn't figure it out.
I don't have to tell you.
we have an idea, and I even have it on the whiteboard. JB
Okay.
said it might be something like where it's a square, and then you have the rectangles on both sides, and then you kind of like do that kind of style. I don't
I'd have
know,
to,
because he took your decoding Damascus
yeah, I'd have
class.
to actually look at the pattern again. I'm pretty sure I remember what, but yeah, so coffee. I still get great results with cold coffee though, but what's really helping is that I'm doing a pre-etch, whether I'm going to go into ferric or coffee. I do a pre-etch bath in phosphoric acid.
That's right. You were mentioning that when you were here, the
Yeah,
phosphoric acid.
that
And
has
I
that has been an insane game changer.
because it kind of like lays the groundwork and you're not depending on the coffee to make all the black.
No, no, no. Actually, so I'll use the phosphoric and then I scrub it back clean. First, I use a rubberized abrasive to pull out any oxides, and then I go back over it with like a 2000 grit sandpaper, and I wet sand to brighten the 15 and 20, and then I go into the coffee. I don't
Mm,
use ferric anymore for anything except for a quick 10 or 20-second dip to make sure there isn't any weird like acetone residue or a fingerprint anywhere on the blade. Otherwise, I don't use ferric anymore.
gotcha. Yeah, JB got some phosphoric. I haven't done it yet, and I need to. I need to try that out
Yeah.
because that's got to be the next step. Because what happens with mine, what I've been doing is I'll dip it in the Baker Forge Gator Piss
Yeah.
with a bubbler for a little bit, maybe
Sure.
a minute, and then I'll go into the coffee.
Okay. That
And
I have heard people doing and getting great results with.
yeah, that
So they'll
seems to
leave the
give
black
me.
on from that and then they go into the coffee for a little extra darkening.
Yeah, I'll come from a rough 2500 grit after a depth etch in ferric, and I'll go
Yeah.
and do the gator piss and then the coffee.
I got
And
you.
then the coffee, you always recommend Nescafe Classico, which I started with, and then I saw somebody at Blade, and they said Folgers was
Okay.
better, so I've been using Folgers. But this last batch I made was Nescafe Classico and Folgers combined, and it's the same thing. So I don't know.
Okay. I just, and honestly, I would be curious now that I'm starting to do this pre-bath. I'd be curious to experiment with different coffees again because um yeah, I tried probably 3 or 4 different kinds of coffee, even different types of Nescafe, and the Classico Dark Roast was always the one that gave me the best, most consistent results. But dude, it is doubled in price since I first started experimenting with coffee etch in 2015, 14.
I feel like everything has doubled in price since then.
Yeah, it's crazy. So it used to be like $6 or $7, and
Now
now it's
it's
like
like,
12, $13 for a 7-ounce container.
I think it's
It's
like 16 here.
Well, here's the trick. You just got anytime you go to the grocery store, especially like a Fred Meyer or Kroger or wherever you're at, those Kroger brand stores, they sometimes have wild sales on it where it's like $2 off. So last time, was that the horn? Is the end of the day horn?
It is 9 o'clock.
It's 9 Go to bed.
The base is 100 yards away.
Right. And they're probably playing just like a recording over a speaker, huh?
Yeah, yeah. In the morning, 4:30 is the national anthem, and then 9 o'clock is the.
Get to work. Holy crap. That's nice. That must feel good at 4:30 in the morning. Are you an early riser?
No, not 4:30 in the morning. It's so in the morning it's 7 o'clock for
Oh, okay.
and then get your ass up music, and then
Yeah.
4:30 p.m. is national anthem. And if you're
Oh,
on
okay.
base, you gotta stop your car. And then at 9 it does
Right.
the thing about soldiers dying. Kind
Yeah.
of thing. Yeah.
I was just trying I need to finish up my thought before I forget it. So the Kroger brand stores, they're all over the country. They're King Supers, they're Kroger, they're Fred Meyer, they're all kinds of different stores. Save
Kroger,
on.
Kroger.
Um, but anyways, um, the last time I was over at a QFC, which is a Kroger brand store, it was $6.50 for a 7-ounce container, and I bought all of them that they had at the store. I bought all of them.
Did you go through them, or you still have them?
I still have them. I bought like 24 of them. This was like 4 months ago, 5 months ago.
Oh shit! Yeah, you're good for a while.
I got time. And if freeze dried, it's not gonna go bad. But I was like, I gotta get this. This deal's too good. So
So
watch for
the
the
hot
sales.
coffee,
Yeah,
hot coffee.
yeah.
So what temperature is hot? Is that like boiling hot, or is it just semi-hot, or
Boiling hot is probably too hot because boiling happens at like 214 degrees or so.
212? Yeah.
212. Yeah. So about half that.
Okay, so around 100 degrees,
Yeah.
give or take. And then so you're gonna be putting it in for less time, I'm guessing, because the
Yeah.
longer you put it in, the darker the 15 to 20 gets. So you're like
Yeah.
heavily monitoring it at that point.
Yeah. So it's a lot more, it's a faster action. And yeah, if you check it, whatever, I was checking last time I did it, I was checking it like every 10, 15 minutes. Um,
Hmm.
you could probably even get away with 20 minutes. So
I was thinking about cold, like just having the knife sit in the container in the fridge,
I've done
and
that lots of
like,
times.
does that work good?
It works freaking great. Here, let me pull up my Instagram. The deal with the devil knife that I just finished or that I did with Gabe. Um, I had professional photos done, and then and then I got the knife back because I wasn't super pumped about the finish, and I re-etched the knife, and I'm gonna do the screen share. And I was doing the hot, but I was struggling with the hot. And so what I ended up doing was cold. And so I put this in the fridge overnight for like 14 hours, 12 to 14 hours, whatever, until I got it to
Yeah.
the shop the next day. And that's like jet black.
Looks great.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter what angle. You don't have to hold it at just the right angle to get the light to bounce off of it. Like, it doesn't matter what angle you hold it at. It's black in any angle, any light. The trick,
Sometimes I find like streaks go
sure.
through the 15 to 20. What causes that?
So, and for anybody who's listening on the podcast, if you join my Patreon, which JB is a member of, but you obviously are not. Just joking. We talk
Guilty.
about this stuff. We go into a lot more depth, but essentially, which feels counterintuitive, but anywhere that the surface is burnished on the blade, I find, and because I was getting that streaking action a lot, and I couldn't figure it out, and I was like, wait a second. I'm scrubbing the shit out of this blade, and I know I'm burnishing the surface because as the abrasive breaks down, it starts out cutting fresh and really aggressively. But if you keep scrubbing with the same piece of sandpaper, it's gonna wear out. And at a certain point, instead of cutting, is burnishing. And anywhere that the surface, I realized, I think what I was seeing was burnishing marks. And what did I do? So I went back over and hand sanded the blade and used a fresh piece of sandpaper every pull, like every stroke, and
Hmm.
did it again.
I,
No problems.
I remember you talking about this, and I used to follow this rule, and I did get great results. Now, what's that? How is that different from
Why are
like
you asking me
doing?
again? No, I'm just joking.
Because I'm having it like become a problem a little bit again,
Okay, yeah,
and um, but how is that different from buffing? Like Baker Forge stuff, they want you to buff it to like a crazy amount, and then
but it's
it
not
comes out
coffee.
nice. I guess. Yeah,
It's
it's not
hydrochloric
coffee.
and a type of ferric chloride.
Yeah, and they got
Um,
this new
yeah,
extra strength one that's for stainless, right?
GP Max.
Is that good for carbon steel? Do you think that would be good for
I have
carbon
no
steel?
idea. I have zero experience with it at all.
Because what I've done on a couple knives is I've taken my Damasteel mix of hydrochloric acid and ferric, heated it up on a hot plate, put my carbon steel Damascus in it. It etched really deep, and then I did a sand on it, and I put it on a coffee, and it came out really nice. Like
Oh,
like
nice.
how like how you say like the phosphoric does,
Sure.
but it's inconsistent. Like I can't make it work with
Mm,
every single pattern.
right.
It's like every single pattern has its own finicky thing that you got to deal with.
Yeah. Well, and I will also say the only time I've really used the Gator Etch, I was doing stainless, and I etched the stainless blade in the phosphoric first. I did the phosphoric bath first, and then I went into the Gator Etch, and um and it came out beautifully high contrast, but it was only a, a satin 800 grit hand finish, no buffing at all.
Mm.
But there was no streaking, and that phosphoric is doing something to open up that surface so that it etches nicer. And this was on stainless. I haven't really dabbled with the Gator Etch with carbon steel, but I am curious to see what happens if you start in the phosphoric and then go into the Gator, and how that affects, and if you even have to buff, or if you can just get away with doing a lower maintenance finish. Obviously still nice, but not, hand sanding up to 1200 grit and then buffing or whatever. I can't remember what it says in the instructions, but to me it feels like a huge pain in the ass.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's how this thing goes. And
Yeah,
I find that the Gator Etch, like it's great, it's fast. If you put a bubbler in it, it goes even faster. And
sure.
but it doesn't stay on there as well. And that's
That's the
that's the
other
only
thing I've heard
problem.
is there can sometimes be difficulties with durability of it. And
Yeah,
with
it's
like
it definitely is.
that that blade that I was just showing you, that was I've buffed on that kind of a finish before. The phosphoric, whether you're going into the ferric or the coffee after the phosphoric bath, the color holds better with a phosphoric pre-etch bath than without.
I'm gonna have to get some phosphoric. I
Sounds
just
like
got the
JB's got
Gator.
it.
Yeah, he does. I'm gonna have to get my own because I like having my own stuff. But
Yeah.
I just got the gator skin. Have you seen that?
No.
They got a ceramic coat, a nano ceramic coat.
Oh, yeah. I did see that.
Yeah, I just got it in yesterday or the day before, and tried it out on one of my Honyaki knives. And I think I need to get like these special cloths because normal microfiber cloths kind of created streaks.
Oh,
And when I looked at their YouTube channel, they had like this like really nice disposable thin cloth that they used. But
like a
it
cotton ball
dries
style
really
work?
fast.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it seems like it dries instantly, not in 20 minutes like it says,
Oh,
and but it takes 24 hours to cure. But it looks really cool. I might use it on all my Damascus knives if it works out, but I
sure.
figured I'd bring that up. This
Yeah,
might be
no,
a huge new thing.
I did see it. So I was dabbling with nano ceramic coatings. Um, Cerakote actually has some that are like a wipe-on coat. They actually sell like towelettes, basically. So like instead of a moist towelette after you eat barbecue, this is something that was used on cars. And so
Huh.
um, but it was something very similar where it went on and it's clear, but it dried like almost instantaneously. Um, but the first concern I would have is around toxicity. But secondary, especially for Damascus or any kind of carbon steel, is like, okay, so say at some point the finish starts to wear down or wear off. Again, the toxicity might be a potential issue, but also, what does it take to refinish that blade? Do you like, how durable is that nano ceramic coating? Is it a huge pain in the ass to strip back off and refinish a blade, or is it really easy? Um, what happens if there's like a weird, just like one little fingernail of a spot that just for whatever reason didn't hold up as well as other parts? Like, once I started thinking about that, because at first I was like really excited about the potential of this stuff, and then I was like, wait a second,
Hmm.
if this is a pain to refinish, I don't want to fuck with it because I don't know what it's gonna take. And I have a couple blades that are just like experimental blades that I have laying around the shop that I haven't gone back to. They have that coating on there, and it's not the gator skin. It's that Cerakote brand uh,
Right.
stuff. But yeah, I haven't taken the time to figure out what it takes to take it off. Um, and
I
that
don't think it would be terrible. It's probably just like a
yeah,
light sanding. I'm going to guess. The gator skin they claim is food safe,
okay, cool,
so that's why I got it. If it wasn't
sure,
claimed to be food safe, then I wouldn't have got it
yeah,
because I mainly do culinary knives. So
absolutely.
yeah,
So then that's great. So then the next question again would still be, if especially on a Damascus piece, like what's going to take to refinish it? Is it just because on a Damascus piece, um, even if you just have a wax coating, like the wax coating can be a pain in the ass to take off sometimes, but you can get it off there and then refinish the blade.
mm,
Um, but if this stuff takes way more than that, um, I don't know. But I'm not trying to poo poo on it. I'm just like I have reservations about getting too excited about stuff. But I would be curious to experiment with it myself. But it
yeah.
sounds like a lot of people are trying it out, and we'll hear back.
What's the worst knife that you ever got back from for a spa day?
Oh God,
How
I'll show you. Actually, it's on my Instagram.
I got a pretty good story too.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm gonna dig through and find mine. So what was yours?
All right, so this customer ordered four Damascus mosaic Damascus knives,
Okay.
and he put them in his closet, and his wife found them, and he
Okay.
was away working, and she was using them for 2 weeks,
Wow.
and you can imagine how this went. And they were rusted and
Yeah.
all fucked up by the time he came back and found them.
Okay.
And he contacts me. He's like, "Hey, can you do anything about this? Like, can you refinish them?" And I'm like, "Sure, I'll give him a spa day. You know, customer service is worth everything."
Sure.
So I just say, "Okay, send him back." And he has his wife make the box. She takes all four knives, Saran's wraps them together, blade on blade,
Yep.
with a paper towel as well.
Okay.
She puts them in a box that's big, like way big, without anything else in there.
Oh my
You
God.
got
So
you
we're
got
just
four knives Saran wrapped together in
clunking
a
around.
giant box
Yeah.
with no padding whatsoever, nothing. They come to it shows up. I got holes all over the side of the box. I unwrap the
Did you take
Saran wrap.
pictures before you started taking that box apart?
Well, I didn't notice the holes until after I opened the box.
Ah. Yeah.
but I undid the Saran wrap and I'm like, holy shit! I looked inside of the box. Holy shit!
Oh
One of
no.
the one of the tips on the chef was just like, yeah. Luckily,
Right.
it didn't break. It didn't break. So I know my heat treat was good. I can become a journeyman smith. But
Sweet.
yeah, no, I had to send pictures and be like, hey, what the heck, man? And he's like, oh, my wife sent it out. And I'm like, well, this is what I got. So I had
Yeah.
to shorten the knife and refinish them and send them out.
Well,
It
it
was
could
a
have
lot
been
of
worse.
work.
The customer could have made it all your fault. Jesus. That's rough though.
Yeah, that's rough. All
Okay.
right, let's see yours.
Mine, so this customer had this knife. They're actually like one of my first customs. And I'm gonna set it up here a little bit. So she gets this custom from me. She's a little lady. She's a local restaurant owner. And after like a few years, she's like, "Oh, I was wondering if you can do anything to try to lighten the knife." And it's already like a sentoku. Now the handle material is madrona burl. Um, but even after being stabilized, it was still pretty lightweight. And so like at that time I wasn't doing S grinds. And so but I was like, "Oh, I'll take a look at it and I'll see what I can do." And but then she kept like kind of uh being a flake a little bit about sorry, that sounds really negative. But just like she kept saying that she wanted to get it done, but then I could never coordinate with her. Like I kept reaching out. And then I like after a couple tries, I'd be like, all right, if she really wants this done, she'll reach back out again. She'll have it ready. And at a certain point, we met up, and we coordinated time for me to pick it up. And then she went to go get it. She couldn't find it, and so nothing was given back to me. So again, it just didn't happen. It didn't connect. Um, and then a couple of years later, she's like, "Hey, I was wondering when that knife, like when you would be done with that knife." And I was like, "Holy shit! I thought I didn't have that knife." I was like, "No," because it's been a couple of years and a lot's going on. I was like, "Oh my god, did I lose this knife? Do I have to make this knife again?" Another, and I was like, "I'm pretty sure what happened," and I reiterated what happened, and she's like, "Oh, I swear to God, I gave it to you." And for some reason, I have a weird memory of getting a knife from her, but it must have been a different knife that she just needed sharpened or something like that. But like I was tripping out. And then like a year and a half or two later, she's like, "I got the knife. I want to get it to you." And she finally gets it to me. And when I get the knife and I open it up, it looks like it had been allowed to sit in the bottom of a sink like so many times. It like the rust pitting on it was so gnarly. Like
Mm,
parts of it looked like it had been left with like lemon juice on it. And like just like she's a chef and she told me she understood like how to take care of carbon steel, but it's like she did not do anything to take care of this knife.
mm,
And because this was early on, like it was a good deal. It was like a $1,500 knife. It's still an expensive knife, but it's like
yeah.
anyways. Okay, so that's the lead in. So this is the knife. So It's hard to see the whole thing, but I do zoom in. I'm doing like an overall. So the handle, because it was Madrona Burl, it was originally kind of like this pinkish orange, and the
Right.
handle is now like brown.
Brown.
And it's like, holy shit, this is obvious. It was actually like a brown gray, and you could tell that they had left it to like sit in this. Look at that rust pitting.
Yeah. That was like what mine looked like with that four knives.
Yeah, I think this side, there's one spot that's like super gnarly on this side.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Yeah, that gray spot right in the middle, and it's
Look
like
like
that was. So
oh. Oh
and so
wow.
I S ground the knife, so it darkened, it lightened up the blade, um, and I did all this work and re-hand sanded it. There's nothing to do about that handle, so it's staying brown, like, but it looks really pretty again,
Yeah.
but so different from what it
It
was before.
looks like walnut.
It does look like walnut, yeah. It went from looking like Madrona to walnut, but such a difference, right?
Yeah.
And then and this was only like 2 years ago. Look, when did I post this? Yeah, 2020, July 2023. It was 2 years ago. She
Oh
just
dang.
messaged, she just reached out to me again, and she's like, "Oh, hey, I'd love, if you got time, I'd love to get that knife back to you to get it tuned up." And I was like, "Holy fuck, what does it look
Uh
like now?"
oh.
I was like, "No."
You're gonna need a whole new handle on that thing.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, and I've been playing with this epoxy finish on my handles. And so I did that epoxy finish on that handle. Um, yeah, but we'll see.
Yeah, JB told me all about that. He said he got the details about that from you, and then
Mhm.
he implemented that on
Yeah,
his, and he had some success with it.
yeah. You just mix it up a couple dots. I use 1-to-1 epoxy. You smear it all over the handle, and then you wipe it all off, and it leaves behind a micro layer. And then you do that three to seven, I don't know, 3 to 5 times, and it gives it a really nice look. And it does close up the surface, but it does take. I'll usually spend like a day doing it,
Yeah, it
and
took him a while too.
yeah, I'll mix it up, smear it on, wipe it off, set it aside, and go and do something for half an hour, and then I'll come back a half hour later, do it again, and I'll just keep doing that. I mean, ideally, I would do it every half hour until it looks good. But I often will then go like a couple hours because I completely forget that I'm even doing that, and I get caught up with whatever else I'm working on. Hyperfixation is a real thing. So sweet. Yeah.
Well, I just recently got admitted to being a Gold Star listener on the Knife Talk podcast.
Oh, did you? You got your
Did you
Gold
miss that?
Star listener status. I must not. I must have missed that episode.
It was a couple weeks ago.
Okay, yeah, I did miss that episode.
Yeah, so and I haven't thanked them, Jeff yet. I feel like I know Jeff so well, but he barely knows me. Like it's that weird thing with podcasts, you know.
For sure.
Like I
Yeah.
met him last year at Blade, and he's way taller
Oh
and
yeah.
way handsomer than I thought he was.
Don't give him too much credit. He's already got a big head.
Oh,
Yeah.
he's great. He likes to do the radio thing, and he
Yeah.
goes for it, and he basically runs that podcast. So it's great.
I know. I'm just a sidekick that can help answer questions. That's all I'm good for.
Oh man, I've learned so much from you. You have no idea. So much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he's a good dude. I'm glad for that podcast, and it's good it's good. It's been good for me to have that over the years because sometimes I just get so burned out on knife making, which is like a real thing that
Yeah, it is.
which is why like I've started doing more teaching, and that's why I started the knife sharpening business, and that's why I have the Patreon. So I'm just mixing it up because
Yeah.
otherwise if I'm like I do not do well doing the same thing honestly for years now on end. And so the last couple of years, I've definitely kind of pumped up the teaching stuff, and that's one of the big reasons. I guess we kind of started out the episode with that a little bit, but that's why I've started doing so much more teaching, because otherwise, like, I've contemplated, like, really contemplated not quitting knife making, but definitely put it on the back burner, or on doing it as a super side hustle and just getting a conventional job again. But then, like you were talking about earlier, like, it's nice not having a boss and like the flexibility. And it's just like, holy shit, that's right. Like, I've become so accustomed to the flexibility that being self-employed offers, that it's hard to be like, oh damn, I guess I can't just like up and disappear for like anywhere between a few days to like a few months to go and do something or work with people, and so
Yeah,
yeah.
I have the same feeling sometimes. And I'll even like daydream about doing a day job for like a week.
Sure.
And then I'll even have dreams where I'm doing a job and I'm like, oh, I can just leave because I have this other thing. I can just go make money.
Sure.
Like I'm not like these other guys that are stuck here. Like I
There's
can just leave right now.
That's such a like a such a tease. You're like, I'm just doing this because I'm bored.
Yeah, that's how my dreams go sometimes. I'm like back at the factory and I'm just like, oh, you don't like me? Okay, well, I can just leave and go make some money.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
I
it's
feel
great.
very fortunate and lucky to be able to earn a living from doing this work, because it's honestly like, yeah, it's I think I've done a lot of jobs that I've been good at. But this is the one thing that I've found that I'm great at, and now I get to help other people through teaching to kind of find their way, if this is their path, to like help to deepen their understanding and knowledge, especially regarding like the Damascus stuff, for sure.
Yeah, you're a very important person in the community. I have to tell you, you're very important. And the
Mm,
you teaching is amazing to see. Like I have no issues with you taking a step back from making your knives because you've already proven yourself enough. Now you're trying to bring others up, and it seems like it's kind of your passion, and it's a win-win at that
yeah.
point. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I've done like a lot of self-reflection over the years, and therapy, honestly. And I used to, like, when I first started out, I was chasing this dream of being like the next Bob Kramer, basically, like super famous, making like the top dollar on my knives and all this stuff. But something I didn't account for is how uh stressful that can be, how uh how out of alignment that is with who I feel like I actually am. And so teaching has been a way to like connect with that, and or kind of connect better with a better sense of authenticity, with the idea that I'm helping others, because through experiences that I've had in my life, I've come to the realization that it's just like, chasing fame or chasing popularity is is not a sustainable thing for me. It might work great for others, but it seems like a lot of people struggle with it who are in it, in like real fame and real celebrity. And I think I've come to the realization that my place in this world is to be a teacher, or a source of inspiration along other people's paths as they discover what their personal genius is, in whatever direction they go, whether it's knife making or otherwise.
It's beautiful. It's perfect. And I'm so happy that you're on that path and you feel good about it. Now, I do have to ask, what is it like communicating with Joe Rogan?
What do you mean? Just
Like
like being on
like
this podcast?
yeah, yeah. I would like I listen to Joe Rogan like religiously.
Yeah.
Um and one of my dreams is to be on his podcast. It's probably not gonna happen. Probably not.
He
But
yeah, I don't know.
he
Never
he's
say
he's
never.
pretty in depth into the knife community. He's got Mike Jones knives. He's got Montana Knife Co's knives. He's got your knives. He's
Yeah.
got who else?
Wilburn.
Oh, he's got Wilbur's.
He's got some knives by Aaron Wilburn.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he actually found me. He like sought me out and found me. I don't really know how, or he saw like an article that like I think he was into Bob Kramer's stuff. And maybe like couldn't get through to Bob or connect with Bob, and he was just reading about him and then heard about me through an article somewhere. I think I mentioned like once or on his newsletter or old newsletters. I think I was mentioned in Bob's newsletters. And then looked me up and found me, and that's how we connected. So, but being on the podcast was really cool. I was really nervous about going on that podcast until I realized, and even actually after I realized, it's not my job to keep the conversation going. That's Joe's job. I just got to be there and talk. I'm like, I can talk. So as long as I can do that, I'm good to go. So
Yeah, I listened to that podcast and I feel like it was cut short, unfortunately.
sure. Well, and it was technically because one, I wasn't even supposed to, like, it was a last second add on, and he had a show that night. And so, and his show was like an hour out or something like that, or 2 hours out. And so he's like, so he told me beforehand, like he has a hard out in a couple hours. So,
Oh, okay.
and it took me a while. It took me like 45 minutes before I actually started like to calm down and settle in and become comfortable. But up to that point, I was super anxious, and it's painful for me to watch because I'm like dropping the F-bomb every 3 seconds because that was kind of my crutch word. And when I couldn't think, instead of saying I'm just saying fucking this and fucking that, fucking, fucking like just really struggling to talk. But I'm like, man, I sound like such an idiot. And I had a couple knife maker friends that I really admire or respect that are like, it's too bad that you said the F word so many times. I'm like, oh, I didn't even think about that. And then I became super self-conscious about it. And I still am, apparently.
I didn't take that away. It didn't matter to me.
I mean, what's hilarious
Yeah.
is like, what is it? We have a negativity bias. Like it's a survival instinct of
Yeah.
human beings, right? And
Yeah.
so even though I've had tons of people say like it was a great episode, they really, both knife makers and non-knife makers, friends and strangers, like reach out and say great things and kind things about it, I still like am locked on to those few that were kind of negative. and therefore
Yeah.
that is more heavily influenced the way I feel about that podcast and that experience than all the positive stuff. That's just what
Exactly.
I gotta work. I gotta work through that still.
I think it's normal. This is the second podcast I've been on, and
Okay.
the first one I was on, it was the Dude Network, and I remember going to bed that night, and I'm just like rethinking everything I said.
Sure. Yeah. I don't know anything about that. Yeah.
And it's like I feel like it's gonna happen tonight, but less so. I think it gets easier. But you were on Joe Rogan, so that's like huge. It's a whole nother level.
It was pretty huge. It was pretty big
Yeah.
for me. I mean, I got 50,000 followers like in the next couple weeks after that episode aired.
I bet.
Yeah.
I think you got up to like 100,000 followers after that, right?
I was
Or so.
up. Yeah, it put me over 100,000, and then I got up to like 105 for a little while, and then and now I'm back down to 100. It's all right.
Hey, yeah, stay above your 100, you'll be all right. No.
Well, honestly, actually, I was looking through your Instagram. I'm like, damn, he posts a lot. I'm like, damn, I need to post more because I just like I've completely fallen off. And actually, it was after that experience, and also after the first, which was just before I joined the Knife Talk podcast. I'd been on the Knife Talk podcast as a guest, but I hadn't. Jeff and I hadn't joined the podcast yet. And so, right after I got back from being on Joe Rogan's podcast, I joined the Knife Talk podcast. And then a year or almost a year later at Blade Show, I had my first kind of experience of being like a Knife World celebrity or Knife World famous, and I was like, whoa, I was not mentally prepared for it, and I was super overwhelmed, and I became actually like my social anxiety went through the fucking roof, dude.
Did you have people coming up to you like left and right, or?
Yeah, I did. Which was like it was very flat. It's just like I didn't know that doing the podcast was having that effect on people.
Yeah.
And I was also doing like the Pattern Welded Wednesdays a lot at the time too. And so and those had gotten up to a point where I'd had like I don't know 20 or 30 posts of the Pattern Welded Wednesdays.
Those were
And
great.
yeah, I'm thinking about bringing those back. I do them in
You
my
should.
Patreon, but I haven't done them on
Yeah.
my Instagram in a long time. Um,
Do
so yeah,
you do like
stress me out.
stories a lot, or
Instagram
sto
stories?
yeah, Instagram stories.
Yeah, share out Instagram stories or repost stories that I get tagged in, but otherwise I don't really do a lot of just like my daily activities and
Mm,
stuff like that, which I should do. I feel like it would almost be like a form of accountability to my audience, I guess, in a way, and the people who follow me. Um, as well as good just generally good business practice to maintain
mm.
kind of relevance and visibility by just posting stuff here and there. And when I do post stuff, like I get reactions, and
Yeah,
it,
me too.
um, and I need to do that more often. Yeah.
Yeah, I try to make it a rule to do at least 2 stories a day of just like what I'm
Oh, nice.
doing.
Yeah. That's great.
And if I'm like hanging out with family or whatnot, then they can wait. But yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
because I don't post story like family stuff
Yeah,
just because the internet is weird.
the
And
internet is weird.
yeah.
Yeah, I get friend requests through Facebook a lot, and that's where like a lot of my close friends and family and that's where I communicate and spend time with them. And I do have some knife friends on there, but they're all people that I've actually met, and I'll get like straight up strangers like friend requesting me, and like I have no there might be some mutual connections, but I've never met them in real life, and I'm like, I'm sorry, but if I don't know you and I haven't met you or met your family or talked to you, like I'm not going to add you as a friend because my kid is on my Facebook page, and it's really important to me that I'm not like unnecessarily exposing them to anything weird, you know?
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, the internet is weird.
Yeah. Or creating access to somebody who's weird. And I'm sure most of the people are just fine. It's just I don't know you,
Yeah,
and I'm not trying to be an
10% of
asshole.
people.
It's about
I
my family.
mean, if 1% of the people that follow you are crazy, then that's too many problems.
Yeah, it's a lot of problems. For sure.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, man. Well, I had a great conversation with you. I think we covered a lot of really good ground and a lot of solid takeaways. So anybody who is going to be listening to this in the Patreon before this goes public on the interwebs, um, I hope you go back and re-listen or take notes along the way, because there's a lot of good takeaways about handles, about etching, about all kinds of stuff. And I think one of the things I really enjoy about this podcast that I don't really say enough is that I I really love that it helps people to recognize or see or understand that we all come from different backgrounds. I I came from washing dishes and cooking in restaurants, like as recent as like 12 years ago, or maybe less than that, 10
I
years ago.
used to punch holes in gas tanks at a junkyard.
You too can be a great knife maker.
You too could be a great knife maker, and and hate making knives because you got to make ends meet. But once in a while you can make something fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or just make it a hobby.
Yeah. Well, and it's also like trying to archive people's stories.
Yeah,
Yeah. Share them in a meaningful way.
and I got so much more I can dive into as well, but we don't like.
We'll have to just do it again. We'll
We
have to
can
come
do it
back.
again
All
whenever you
right.
want.
All right. Hell yeah, brother. Well, I want to give a quick thank you again to all of the super sponsors on the Patreon again for being such great supporters, honestly, more than anything. That is this month we got Josh Weston. He's Josh A. Weston on Instagram. You can also find him on Instagram at Dragon Forge EXP for the Dragon Forge experience. We got Russell Tinsley, who is Oozle Finch Beers. That's OOZLE Finch Beers, as well as at Can't Make Knives. Dan Hubs on Instagram at 66. Those are the numbers 66 Mountain Knives. Lawrence Lake on Instagram at Maritime Knife Supply, as well as MaritimeKnifeSupply.com. And finally, Gabe Fletcher of Anchorage Brewing, at Anchorage Brewing, as well as at Anchorage Forge on Instagram, as well as all of the patrons in the Patreon. If you want to join the Patreon and be part of these conversations, go over there, look up Malmossi Fire Arts, or I think actually Marco Malmossi on Patreon. I also have a link in my Instagram bio that goes to a link tree to all the stuff, and the Patreon's there at the top, I believe. And you can be part of these conversations and get early access to all of this great information. Otherwise, I don't think I got anything else. Thank you, everybody, for joining the conversation. Thank you again, Justin, for being part of the conversation. He left already.
No, I gotta pee like I hurt so bad.
Okay, then we're gonna end it. We're gonna end it.
Squirming over here.
All right, everybody. Thank you.